name is Marius. I'm 25 years old and from Germany. I'm studying in the Netherlands because it's close to the border of Germany at the Fontys International Business School, and my major program is International Marketing. I've chosen the Universitas Airlangga UNAIR in Surabaya because I think that Indonesia is a really beautiful country. The people are so kind and are always smiling, and I've chosen the Airlangga UNAIR University because I can combine 14 different faculties and choose the courses that I want to study. It's a huge pleasure for me to be part of the Emerita program. I'm studying with lots of different students from all around the globe, and I can learn about their cultures and about their personal experience. My best experience from the program was a free cultural trip to Yogyakarta. We went there by bus with nearly 80 students and staff from the AGE office, and we visited lots of temples and a water palace that was really huge and was so interesting, and we have learned a lot about the culture and we had lots of fun together. The process of applying for visa here in Indonesia is really hard to do it on your own, but the support of the AGE is really huge in this kind of matter. They are helping you, for example, to go together to the immigration office and to help to extend the visa.
Manajemen and Sains University, and I'm majoring in Bachelor in Forensic Science. I'm from Malaysia. So basically why I choose Surabaya UNAIR as my destination of studies, because I think it is close to my home, Malaysia, and then I can just go back anytime I want, and yeah, that's good, right? Then I think because of our language is almost similar, I will be comfortable to talk to the local people, because I think I can speak Indonesian language fluently. I think Emerita program is perfect because firstly, I love when they provide us a very good meals in every event, like the opening ceremony and for the cultural trip. We are always provided with the good meals, so I like it. And now I would like to share my most memorable experience here in UNAIR is when they brought us to the cultural trip to Yogyakarta. I've never been to Yogyakarta in my life, so it was my first experience in which I like it. I'm very happy. I was excited for it. In Yogyakarta, what I like the most is when they brought us to visit Prambanan, Candi, and yeah, I will never forget massive support given by Emerita or AGE team during my very first class here. I mean, like at first we were kind of messed up because we were not given the schedule right on time. But luckily Miss Wilda is here to help us to coordinate our timetable perfectly. Like if we are having miscommunication with the lecturer, Miss Wilda will try to help us to like communicate or get engaged to the lecturer better. That's it.
Hey, my name is Celeste. Celeste and I'm from the Netherlands. I study at the Rotterdam University of Applied Sciences and my major is International Business and Management Studies. So I choose Surabaya because my relatives live here, so it's very easy to go here. I don't need to search for housing. Also, it's a very central point to travel anywhere. And I choose UNAIR University because it's a very good university, one of the best of Indonesia. The student life at UNAIR is very good. They have 3 campuses in total with very good facilities, like they have a lot of food corners, mini markets, places where you can study, and also coffee shops. So I really like the campus life here. The most memorable thing and experience here is definitely the Gili Labak trip. It was organized by one of our buddies, and yeah, the island was just beautiful. Like, it was really a paradise, and we had so much fun with each other and got to know everyone. So yeah, it was definitely the best experience. HEE gives really good support during the MIRTA program. If you have a problem, they will answer like immediately on WhatsApp. Also, we were given like buddies, so yeah, they would like introduce Surabaya. They would go to show you some stuff. Surabaya was really nice. And also visa extension, pickup service from the airport, and also the housing. If you need to search for a house, they will help you with all of that. So that's really good.
When you ask about Universitas Airlangga or think about applying, we will give you an insight about us in numbers.
You can come to Surabaya, the second biggest city in Indonesia. Just an hour's flight from Jakarta, and find us selecting over 9,000 students each year.
And it's easy to go anywhere from here. Only 40 minutes to international airport, 30 minutes to bus station, and 5 minutes to railway station.
We select each individual carefully for our 14 faculties to learn with more than 38,000 other students from around the world each year.
You'll be learning in 3 different campuses, connected by 3 shuttle buses, going every 30 minutes every day. No big deal.
There are 165 different programs consisting 39 bachelors, 45 masters, 13 doctorate, 3 4 years vocationals, and 17 3 years vocationals.
41 specialists and 7 professional educations. Among them, there are 5 international class and dual degree programs, and also 12 multidisciplinary programs in our postgraduate school.
Want to know our international class and dual degree program? Here we have medicine, dental medicine, veterinary medicine, pharmacist education, and psychology.
But worry not, there won't be any difficulties, for 2,600 of our staff are ready to assist you at any turn of your study.
And almost 2,000 lecturers to answer your scientific questions, and 224 professors for more difficult ones. Or your answers could be anywhere among 118,000 collections in our library.
And if you wonder, are we always the same?
No, we have 39 student clubs with 10 different sports, 8 martial arts, 5 religious clubs, 7 creative and traditional arts, and 7 more others.
Above all, since 1954, we are proud of our students. In 2017 alone, 444 of them are getting achievements in national and international level. Collaborating with 149 universities across the globe, we are ready, marching with the rest of the world, cultivating the brightest future of all.
Okay, so this is already 8:30 in the morning. As per our schedule, we will start on time. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Waalaikumsalam. And good morning to all of our esteemed participants. It is such a pleasure for us to welcome you all to online international seminar on publication with the topic Capabilities Enhancement and Opportunities for Publication in Top-Tier Journal. As you all know, this event is the third in an international online seminar series proudly presented by Departemen of Management, Faculty of Economics and Business, Universitas Airlangga. The purpose of this seminar is to spread knowledge and experiences in order to increase the quality and quantity of publications for fellow researchers. Because we believe that learning should be borderless, even when we cannot meet physically in this pandemic time. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Gitanadya, and I will be the moderator for this seminar at your service. We are happy to announce that this seminar has been joined by over more than 100 participants from 11 countries: Indonesia, Malaysia, Saudi Arabia, Oman, and other countries as well. Hopefully, today will be a fruitful event. We would like to especially greet Professor Tan Sri Dr. Oi Keng Boon as the Dean of Faculty of Business and Information Science, and Assistant Professor Sudes Balasubramaniam as the Head of Department of Management Studies, both from the UCSI KL. It's an honor to have you both here today. So what makes this event special and different from other webinars you have officially followed during this pandemic times? Well, today we have three distinguished speakers from lots of experiences in publication under their belt. The first one is Associate Professor Dr. Zulnaidi Yaacob from Universiti Sains Malaysia with over 100 publications ranging from papers, articles, journals, etc. The second is Dr. Garry Tan Wei Han from UCSI and KL, and his recent scholarly award just for the year of 2020 includes highly cited paper by Clarified Analytics US and most downloaded International Journal of Information and Management article by Elsevier US. And last but not least is Dr. Muhammad Haseeb from Taylor's University, who is the Associate Editor in International Journal of Innovation, Creativity, and Change, a Scopus Index journal, and also reviewer and author of several high-ranked Scopus and ISI journals. Good morning to all our speakers. Good to have you here today. Whew, such great speakers we have today, yeah? And not just three of our aforementioned speakers, we also deliver three panelists that will provide insight and experience in publication from 3 points of view. We have Dr. Dian Ekowati, currently serves as Head of Airlangga Global Engagement, that offers her point of view from University's management in publications. We also have Associate Professor Dr. Indrianawati Usman, that currently serves as Head of Doctoral in Management Study, with her point of view as lecturer. And lastly, Fiona Niska Gitanadya, MSM, as recipient of Beasiswa PMDSU, Indonesia's special scholarship in fast track towards doctoral degree, that will tell her point of view as students. I'd say that's a complete package we have here, right? Before we start today, I would like to invite our honored Secretary of Department of Management for her opening speech. For Professor Tanti Handriana, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Gita. Good morning. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I wish a warm welcome to all participants today, and a special welcome to the speakers, Dr. Zulnaidi Yaacob, Dr. Garry Tan, and Dr. Haseeb. Also to the panelists, Dr. Indrianawati Usman, Dian Ekowati Ph.D., and Mbak Fiona Niska, to the online international seminar on publication in this morning. On behalf of the Department of Management, Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Airlangga, I would like to appreciate to all participants for taking time to attend this seminar, and special thanks to the speaker and panelists for sharing knowledge, expertise, and experience in the seminar today. Special for Professor Tan Sri Dr. Oi Keng Boon, Dean of Faculty of Business and Management, UCSI, University Kuala Lumpur, and Associate Prof. Sudes Balasubramaniam, Head of Department of Management and Business, UCSI, University Kuala Lumpur. Thank you for supporting the seminar. We hope that the seminar is the beginning of many collaboration between UCSI Kuala Lumpur and Universitas Airlangga. In this occasion, we will also soft launch a special book, result of joint effort, proudly presented by the student of Doctoral Study Program in Management, Faculty of Economic and Business, Universitas Airlangga. So hopefully this activity will benefit for us. Please enjoy the seminar, stay healthy, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Tanti Hendriana, for the opening speech. And yes, we do have a special segment today, a soft launching of special book, The Fruit of Thoughts from students of Doctoral Program in Management Study during this pandemic time. The book is titled Airlangga Melawan COVID-19, Pemikiran Bisnis dan Manajemen, or Airlangga Fights COVID-19, The Views of Business and Management. And here's the preview of the book. Perhaps Dr. Indrianawati Usman can tell us a little bit about the book.
Thank you, Gita. While we wait the video, about the books, as long as the pandemic COVID-19, the student of 2019 will make a book chapter. It's serial chapter from students. All the student contributed, including me actually, contribute for this book. So please. This is a soft opening actually, and we will be print in maybe in next month. So we will introduce first for you. Okay. Thank you, Mbak Gita.
Thank you, Bu Indrianawati Usman. And here's the preview of the book.
Yes, hopefully it's insightful for audience and will inspiring you to write another and also a research about these topics. Thank you, Gita.
Thank you, Dr. Indrianawati, for such time and effort create this book. And without further ado, because you all have been so impatient for such great speakers, let's start with our first speaker from Dr. Zulnaidi Yaacob, with the topic of converting dissertation into publication article. A little bit of Dr. Yaacob. He is currently a senior lecturer in accounting at Universiti Sains Malaysia, and he has published so many journals, and he's also the editorial board member of International Journal of Finance and Accounting. Please, Dr. Yaacob, the time is yours.
Thank you, Burita. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good morning to all the participants of this international seminar. Thank you for joining us today. So the title of my topic today is about how to convert your dissertation into publishable research articles, or how to publish your dissertation. Okay, so the content of my presentation today is about, first, I'm going to talk about publication for PhD student. Why publication is important for PhD or master students, S2 or S3, why the publication is important to postgraduate students. What's the difference between a thesis versus an article? Because there are few differences between these both publication, which is, to me, in order for you to publish your research or to complete your PhD, you really need to understand both format of this publication. It doesn't matter, it can be a thesis for PhD or a dissertation for master thesis or postgraduate studies. And the third one, I'm going to touch on the issues on article publication. What is the issues when you try to publish your research, the process of publications, and why for certain researcher, novel researcher, new author, it's going to be a bit hard for you to pass through the process if you are not really understand the process and how to tackle the issue that may arise in the process of you try to publish your research. And the last one, I'm going to touch about the impact of publication, why you need to push yourself to publish your research. Because without publication, research is not a research. In other words, we can say that you can consider you have done a research or you have completed your research if you have publication on that research. You cannot do research just for the sake of having research, and you keep your research, you keep your data, you keep your findings without sharing to others. So I hope today, after this session, you will get inspired, you will get more motivation, you will become more motivated to publish your research, your PhD or your master thesis. It's not about your supervisor asking you to do that, but yeah, you yourself want to grow to be a researcher, to be a scientist with publication. So I hope that if you have any question, later you can communicate with Bu Gita. Maybe Bu Gita will help you in this session. Okay. So postgraduate study is a journey. Okay, it's a long journey. When you start your PhD, when you start your master degree, you have a lot of questions. How are you going to complete your degree? How are you going to how you're going to deal with your supervisor. But perhaps very few of you, including me, before we get started with postgraduate program, we're thinking of publication, because most of us focusing about, you know, completing master, completing PhD degree, and also how to deal with supervisor, rather than thinking about how to get published, how to publish your research. But believe me, master and PhD process is a journey when you learn a lot. When your supervisor, your university, and also your department help you to groom you to become a researcher, because during your candidature as a master or PhD student, actually there is a period where you learn about how to write, how to present, how to defend your ideas, how to argue, how to provide a scientific argument. It's not just, you know, argue anything, but to provide a scientific and also strategic and also systematic argument. How to do proofread on your own, how to you know, how to deal with rejection, because it's not only supervisor actually sometimes ask you to do again, and to do correction on your thesis or on your proposal. Sometimes you cannot handle this rejection. But when you submit your article for journal publication, actually you're going to deal with another form of rejection, because if you have if your proposal get rejected by your supervisor, you can always, you know, call her or call him, send a WhatsApp, and, you know, asking for more, why you reject my proposal, how do I going to improve. But it's going to be different when you try to submit your paper through for journal publication, because they're going to you know, list down what you need to do in order for your article to help you improve your article, so that your article can get published. So there are ways that you need to learn on how to deal with editor and also reviewer comments. I think the next speaker will talk on. We give you we give you guidelines on how to get published into a reputable journal. So during your postgraduate student, also you learn about how to do correction, how to become a wisdom people. When you listen to argument, when you listen to suggestions, how you going to deal with that. So how to and also you learn about values, how the teamwork, the patience, the never give up process, how to deal with your frustration, and also how to unlearn something that you know, but now maybe you need to, you know, refresh your knowledge for that, so that you become more relevant to the current situation. Postgraduate studies also is about co-learn and relearn. You co-learn with your supervisor. It's not like, you know, it's not like perhaps undergraduate study when you go and listen to your professor and you just take note everything and you give it back during examination. But during postgraduate study, it's more on co-learn process between you and your professor. So it's about you learn how to work with other people in finishing or doing a research. So the same you will apply when you going to complete your research article. The co-learn process is about when you ask other people to be co-writer of your article, and also about relearn. Maybe you have learned something before, but now you need to relearn again. For example, the process of using certain statistical procedure or statistical application. There are improvement. There are always, you know, keep improvement in terms of using certain applications and also statistical procedure where certain author you know, they write papers about contemporary application of certain application of certain statistical tools, which is you need to be aware about the current application of certain methodology or certain procedures or certain statistical tools in your research area. Okay, so I would like to invite all of you to participate in this Slido, you can scan this Slido and perhaps provide response. How many articles would you like to publish during your doctoral or master students program? When you follow your master or PhD program, how many articles you target to publish? Perhaps you can scan this slide and put number. Okay. What is your target actually as a PhD or master student? Why you do your PhD? Why you do your master? For some people, they do this because they want to get a certificate. They want to they want to be called as a doctor. For example, in Indonesia, normally we call ibu or bapa, but in other country where you get your PhD, people call you doctor with PhD. Some people they do postgraduate study because of recognition, perhaps their workplace, their employer require you to have a higher degree, and they will give you more recognition, for example, in terms of job promotion. And for some people, they do postgraduate study because they would love to have a higher status for whatever reason. For academic promotion, of course, you cannot run away from this. For you to be a professor, for example, for you to get a higher rank in academic, you have to have postgraduate study. And today, I think it is a must for most university, especially research university, for you to have a basic degree, at least PhD, before you be appointed as a lecturer in most research university. And PhD is a qualification for you to, to expand your boundary, to fly further in research and also in academic world. It's like a ticket for you to go for a postdoc program around the world. There are many opportunities actually for you to do a postgraduate postdoc, the program that you do after you get your PhD. Okay. To become a professor or guru besar in Indonesia, then you need your higher academic qualification. For some reasons, sometimes you also need this qualification to get higher income or higher salary, or more opportunity for you to gain more income. For example, by having a seminar when people put more trust in you because you are now a certified, or you are now become a person who are, qualified or become an expert in the area. Sometimes people looking for salutation only. They want to put certain salutation in front of their name. For example, Dr. Abu, Dr. Michael, and so on. And also for job and university requirement, just like I mentioned to you before. Okay. However, when we do master program, when we do PhD program, in addition to all those benefits, we must have right intention. Why you do postgraduate study? Focus on the knowledge. Why you become a postgraduate study? Postgraduate study is not an easy task. You need to spend your time, perhaps 2 to 3 years, focus, committed, invest your time, invest your money in order for you to, at the end of the day, successful as a business and as a master and postgraduate student. So this is all the benefit. This is all the good benefit that you must instill in your heart, in your mind, that you do master program, you do PhD program because you would like to improve your knowledge, to become someone who are more knowledgeable. Beyond that, you would like to contribute to the society, just like, congratulations to UNAIR for publishing the book on COVID-19. So this is the way that we can contribute to the society by learning the process of doing research, publication, tackling issues. That by this knowledge, when you publish, you share with the people, and by having your publication reach to the community and the public, you are actually contribute to the society. So it is one way. It is a very noble way for you to share your knowledge to the society. A postgraduate study also provides you opportunity for you to explore new solutions, because we are living in the conditions, in the environment, in the society that we have a lot and huge problems. So all this problem can be part of your research problem or problem statement that later on you focus in your research to find answer for this, and by providing answer or solution for this, you actually helping community, you are actually helping society to, going out from a problem. Okay, share knowledge with others. You do research because you would like share knowledge with others. And how are you going to share your knowledge with others? Definitely publication. Sometimes you can have seminar like this, and even today under the COVID-19, it's going to be more difficult for you to have face-to-face seminar, and now you can have online seminar like this to share knowledge with others. But what's the difference between having a talk like this and a paper that people can read? Definitely, if you have publication, you have journal publication, people can, read your publication, read your talk at their, when they have time to read, rather than when we have seminar like this, they have no option. They need to listen to this seminar, they need to spend time. Even after that, they can see the recorded version of the seminar. Okay. To nurturing future Indonesia and the world, by tackling a certain issues, by providing solution for certain issues, you actually contributing to the society where people can have a better environment, living in a better environment, achieving better economy, prosper economy, through your findings when you contribute through publication. Be part of competitive society, better economy, better technology, better society, and to be a great knowledge seeker. Researcher is not just about imparting knowledge to others. It's not about sharing your knowledge to others, but to be a great researcher, you yourself need to continuously seeking knowledge from others. That's what we do when we write article. That's what we do when we write thesis. We cite publication, we cite article, we learn from the other researcher. Then from that, we identify what is the gap in the literature, what is the gap in the knowledge corpus. And from that, we try to, contributing more into knowledge areas so that the knowledge become richer and the knowledge expanded. We expand the knowledge. So that's why to become an author, to become a researcher, is not just about we write an article and sharing to others, but also we also need to seeking information from others, learning from other researchers as well. Okay, so basically, what is dissertation or what is thesis? Okay, it is an original research, give evidence of mastery both. One is subject matter and one is methodology. So you need to master these two. One is the subject matter, either management, finance, marketing, strategic management, or beyond. Then you need to understand, you need to really master the methodology that you're going to use to finish or to complete your research. It can be qualitative, it can be quantitative, or mixed method. It can be both of that. So you need to really master the methodology that you choose in your research. There are a lot of things that you can learn, but during your PhD, during your dissertation process, you just focus on things that add value to your dissertation and PhD process. Then after you finish your PhD, perhaps you can spend more time to explore other methodology for you to become a better and a more mature researcher and author. Okay, so how can you republish your thesis? Okay, excuse me. When we're talking about publication of thesis, it can be before your viva voce, before you finish your PhD or master, or after you finish your master and PhD. So it can be, this publication can be something that you republish from your thesis, or something that you publish along the process of you completing your thesis. So it can be both. Either you publish before you getting your degree, or you publish after you getting your degree. So what type of publication? There are many forms of publication. Actually, you can publish in the form of proceedings, in the form of chapter input, in the form of article in magazine, in the form of book as well. But today, my focus is more on journal articles. How you can republish, or how you can publish your work, your master and PhD work into journal articles. But all these publication are important. Okay, not only journal articles, you should practice, or you should have publication in proceeding, chapter in book, article in magazine, book as well. Why you need to try to publish your research in all these format, all these platform, because they have different audience. For example, if you have a great knowledge, you find a great significance of your research, and you would like to share with the public, with the layman, with this community, it's better for you to publish in article in magazine, because more readers, more community, and more people will read your article in magazine. Perhaps you need to do some adjustment in terms of language and the linguistic, and you use to share your knowledge. Okay, but as an academic, as a researcher, you cannot run away from publishing your research in article journals, because this is a way for you to establish your credential, to establish your capability, and to build your network with this other scientists and people in your area, because people in your area will read your journal articles, we see how you have contributed to the areas, and also we evaluate what's the new that you have contributed to the knowledge. Okay, while you're doing your master and while you're doing your PhD, you learn a lot of research skill. Perhaps on the first day, when you register as a student, you don't know about what is proposal, you don't know about what is structural equation modeling, you don't know about methodology, you don't know about mixed method, you don't know about how to deal with reviewer, you don't know about the theory that you're going to apply in your research. But after you go through the process, these are all the things that you learn actually during master or PhD process. You learn about how to write proposal, how to define your proposal, how to come up with good proposal, how people evaluate the proposal. You also learn actually the reading skill. Perhaps you learn how to read A, B, C during your 7 years or 5 years old. But again, when you do your master, when you do your PhD, you will learn again how to read, because you have a lot of articles, thousands of articles actually now you can access through an internet. So it's almost impossible for you to read all those material line by line. So that is why you need to learn how to read, and also how to write. Maybe you have learned about how to write love letter, you have learned about how to write poem, you have learned about how to write essay, you have learned about how to write on newspaper, you have learned about how to write complaint paper to your parents, complaint letter to your parents because not giving you allowance and so on. But this time you learn about how to have a skill on scientific writing. It's really different from a common writing. So this is the skill that you learn during your PhD. So open your mind, open your heart. If you are still new student for master and PhD, go for it. Get as much as skill as you can during your PhD candidature. You learn about how to proofread. You learn how to do proofread on your own. You learn about the theory. You learn about the methodologies. That's why you need to go to class. You need to attend seminar. You need to listen to many people discussing about methodology, because sometimes methodology is also something not static. Changes from perhaps 5 years ago, that kind of methodology we can accept, but now you need to improve that methodology because the methodology expert has found that there is some loophole in previous methodology, and now you need to improve the methodology in doing your research. And also statistical analysis. There are also for those who are doing research quantitative, and you do applications to analyze your data. There are also, issues, discussing, debating about the weakness and about the weakness of the certain application, where you need to aware about that, because you have to make sure that when you apply, when you analyze your data, you really use the most contemporary, trusted, and accepted methodology. You learn how to discuss. When you have scientific, when you would like to write a scientific discussion, there are certain ways, there are certain procedures that you need to follow when you discuss. It's not just about throwing your ideas and without following any procedures. Okay. Publication during your PhD candidature, what is good? First is a guided process, because you have supervisor. Supervisor will help you how to improve the quality of your paper so that it can get published into journal. So perhaps there is an advice I can share with you. And when you're looking for supervisor, perhaps you need to to read the resume, or you need to read the background of the supervisor, so that you will have more confidence that you can, at the end of the day, you can publish your research. Okay. You still a student. After all, mistake is a learning process. So go through this experience, writing paper, submitting paper. It's okay to get rejected for the first trial, second trial, because as a student, actually you are learning. And as a new author, new researcher, every comment you receive from the reviewer or from the editor is a learning process, which is not only benefit for you to improve the quality of your paper that later you're going to submit or resubmit to journal, but also what you learn from reviewing process is also the knowledge that you can add value into your process of writing PhD thesis. You learn about writing content, presentation, how to present the content, how to discuss, how to critique, how to improve, and also get through the wider process. You also learn about the soft skill. For example, I give you an example. The soft skill that you learn during the writing process is how to deal with the review feedback. For certain people, they are not professional. They cannot properly manage the process of dealing with the review process. When they get some comments from the reviewer, difficult for them to disagree with the reviewer comment. They don't know how to professionally explain to the reviewer why they do like this, why the reviewer comment on like this. It's going to be an interesting experience actually when dealing with editor and also reviewer on how to sometimes you need to convince a reviewer the reason, the justification why you choose that way rather than the one that's suggested by the reviewer. Always remember that reviewer is also just like you. They have some, they have strength point, they have strong point, they have weakness as well. So it doesn't mean when the reviewer give comment on your manuscript, you have to follow 100%. You have to, the most important thing is you know what you do, and you can explain to the reviewer why you stick to that decision. If you think the reviewer has perhaps misleading the content of your article or the approach that you use in the article. Okay, it's not easy. It's not easy. For new researcher, it's not easy to come up with a good, high impact article. It's not easy, but something possible. It can be done. It's not, you can do that. You can publish. So start with a small process. Maybe you engage with the researcher, attend seminar, in-house seminar, presenting your research, writing for conferences, publishing in proceeding. These are all process that will contribute in building up your confidence, in preparing you to become a more solid and a more matured researcher and author. There is no a simple, easy process for you to develop yourself to become a matured and well-experienced researcher. You have to go through this process. Start small, listen to comments, learning from the process, improve your quality, improve your capability from time to time. Okay. If you would like to have a good PhD thesis, you have to read and read again. Read and read again. I'm sure so your supervisor asks you to do this thousand perhaps, if not hundreds, for you read, please read, please read. The same when you would like to write article for a journal, you need to read articles. At least please read articles of your targeted journal so that you know the format, the scope, the direction, the language, the style of your targeted journal. It is a must. At least you need to read the journal so that you did not against the rules, the regulation, the guidelines for that journal. Introduction, normally for thesis, you can have a big, more, wider scope of introduction. Different to article, it must be more specific, focus on certain issues. Timely and recent issues is more appropriate for journal publication. If you have more than one research question for your dissertation, you perhaps can choose only one research questions to get one paper and submit the article. Literature review for thesis, yeah, you have to try to have a comprehensive review, as comprehensive as possible. But for article, sometimes you need to limit your literature because there are limited space. Sometimes perhaps certain journal they limit you to 20 pages, but certain journal they don't have that limitation. So in order for you to follow, in order for you to write within the limited space that they given to you, so you need to focus more on recent article and very strong citation rather than just cite any articles or any publication in your paper. Methodology in thesis very detailed. You need to establish strong and theoretical justification, but in article be more brief, but is adequate for other future researcher to replicate your study. Findings also in thesis very detailed, but article related to your research objective. References very comprehensive for thesis, but for article is limited. Citation from targeted journal, make sure that you read the targeted journal so you know what has been published, what has been published by other researchers. For thesis template, you follow the university guideline. Each university, they have different guideline. Even sometimes each faculty and each school, they have different guidelines. But for the article, you need to follow the guidelines, the template. For each article, for each journal, every publisher they have their own style of writing, they have their own style of template. So you need to be sensitive to all of this in order for your article to get published.
I'm sorry, Dr. Yaacob, 5 minutes more.
Okay, so there is another. Thank you, Bugita. So there is another difference between thesis and also article. For example, assessor, your thesis normally will be evaluated by your supervisor and also examiner. But in article, but for article in general, your article will be evaluated by editor and reviewer. So they just know you after they read your article compared to your thesis. Supervisor know you before you submit your thesis to supervisor to read your thesis. So that's a different. Okay, so editor, the first time they read your articles, is going to they will have a perceptions about your article. It doesn't, they don't consider either you are new author or you are well established, well experienced author. That's not going to have any input or any point to their evaluation. You have to achieve certain standards before editor can approve your article and send out your article for reviewing process. Thesis written by one person only. You yourself write everything on your thesis. Compared to article, it can be single, it can be multiple author. You can have co-author. Quality for thesis will be comments graded by your examiner or panel of examination board. But in article, the quality perhaps they identify the quality of your publication through status of journal, index or non-index citation, and also later on edge index of your profile. Okay. I can share this slide later with all the participants if you are interested in getting this slide. Okay. This is the differences between a thesis and article content. Thesis content of chapter 1, chapter 2, until chapter 5, discussion, methodology, and analysis. But it's the template for article. You have section, objection, introductions, literature review, methodology analysis, and also discussion. I'm sure you're familiar with the thesis format, and also you should familiar with the article format in order for you to get published. Okay, so this is the submission process. Thesis normally you follow the guidelines in your department, at your university. They give you guidelines what the process that you need to go through when you do postgraduate program. But basically this general process that you need to go through when you submit your article for publication in journal. You write, you submit, you review, you get feedback, correct. You need to do correction, or you get rejected, and you resubmit either to the same journal or same different journal but same publisher or different publisher, and everything done, published. Sometimes the process of publication of an journal article can go up to 2 years. It depends to the publication, it depends to the publisher, and it depends to the, also the response of author in tackling the issue raised by the reviewer. Okay. Okay, so journal publication, you can publish in Web of Science, Scopus, National Index Journals, or other journals. It depends to the requirement of your institution. Now, most university require students to have publication before graduation. If you don't have publication, you cannot graduate. So make sure you plan your study properly so you can get your publication, you publish your research before convocation or before graduation. If not, then perhaps you need to delay your convocation or delay you need to extend your study. So how much you need to target for publication during your study? Perhaps 1 in 1 year. So if master, perhaps 1 or 2 is good enough. PhD, 2 or 3 is good enough if you can publish during your candidature period. So this is a type of journal article that you can try to publish. Systematic literature review, because you have done this in chapter 2. Framework and measurement establishment, because you have done this in your methodology, when you develop your research instrument, and also research findings, when you have an initial findings, and also when you complete a data collection and you're ready to publish your research. Perhaps full set of your research finding you can publish after you completing your PhD or master. This is big no. This is big no when you try to publish from a thesis. Please don't copy and paste from your thesis directly into journal article without further editing, because they have different format. They have different language style, and they have different requirements. Please use recent references, citation, and data. Please use only necessary information when you submit article, because your PhD, your master thesis is about 300, 400 pages. So you need to cut it into and find out only necessary information and use this information to put in your research article. Please follow journal template.
Okay.
So, okay, Bu Gita.
You're finishing up, Dr. Yaacob?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
If the participant have any question, perhaps we can respond later. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Yaacob, for such insightful talk. I read one of the comments in chat group. Is today your birthday? Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Today is my birthday.
Then we all wish you a very happy birthday.
Thank you, Budina.
Wow, such a dedicated researcher. On your own birthday, you choose to share your knowledge. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
like you're giving the gift to us, not we give the
Thank you
gift
for
to
having
you.
this event on my birthday day. Thank you.
Thank you for such insightful info. Thank you. And for the questions and answer, you can write your questions in the Q&A session. We will read them later after the sessions.
Okay, thank you.
Please do not refrain to join us with some questions. Pertanyaan juga bisa disampaikan dalam bahasa Indonesia dan akan dibantu oleh moderator. Next, we have the second speaker ready by Dr. Garry Tan Wei Han. Well, the short CV of Dr. Garry says it all. As of 1st August 2020, Garry's citation counts are as follows. Scopus 1,524 with H index of 22. And please note that special for Dr. Garry's session, his presentation will not be shared. So please pay attention closely, but his session is recorded and published later in our YouTube. Dr. Garry, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Gita. Just give me a minute. Let me just share my slides. Okay, are you able to see my slides?
Good.
Okay. Hi everyone. Greetings from Malaysia. So I'm Garry from UCSI University, Malaysia. So today's topic is on writing for reputable and top-tier journals. Now this is much accumulation of my experience over the last 12 years. You know, I used to jokingly say to a lot of my participants, 12 years ago, or 13 years ago when I joined the academia, I have a lot of hairs. Okay, the problem is that over the years, the more paper that we write, the more papers that we publish, I begin to lose more hairs and hairs. So that is the negative side effects of writing and so on. Anyway, so today the topics that I'm going to cover is on what is this top-tier journals all about. How do you define this thing called top-tier journals? I'm going to explain about on writing on a reputable top-tier journal papers as well. Like for example, how do you choose a title? How do you write a good abstract? How do you write good keywords, introduction, lecture reviews, research methodology, discussion, implications, and henceforth. Okay, and towards the end will be Q&A. It's going to be a lot. I don't know how much you can absorb in this next 40 minutes, but I do hope you can take it as much as possible. Okay, now this is just one example of a CV which I randomly searched online. Okay, this is from one of the lecturer, academicians from Swinburne University. Okay, the reason why I wanted to show this is that I wanted you guys to take a look on this thing called APDC rating. Okay, the one that I've highlighted, APDC rating A, APDC rating A star, APDC rating A. Now, a lot of you ask, what exactly is this APDC? Now, APDC here represents Australian Business Dean Council. Now, if one day, if some of you have this aspiration to work in Australia, you need to publish in this APDC journal ranking list. I'm going to explain more in a short while about this. Now, this is another CV from one of the academicians from a British university. Now, in UK, for example, and perhaps in a lot of European universities, they use this thing called ABS. Okay, ABS, you can see here, ABS level 3, ABS level 4 star, ABS level 3 again. ABS here represents all business school, or sometimes known as the Academic Journal Guide, AJG. Okay, so if you have aspirations to work in UK, you need to publish in this list. Okay, so this is the APDC, the one that I've just mentioned. Now, in APDC, right, the highest top ranking of the list is the A-star journal. Okay, as you can see, this is the latest APDC list from 2019. A-star journal only represent 199 journal articles. Okay, A is about 651 and henceforth. Now, for UK is AJG. Academic Journal Guide, okay, the one that I just mentioned, ABS. Now, ABS ranking, the highest again is 4-star, 4, 3, 2, and 1. There is a reason why I wanted to introduce this to all of you, okay? If you were to ask me what it means by a top tier or reputable journals, now, this is just my personal opinion, okay? Reputable and top tier journals paper is more than just impact factor. I don't know about in Indonesia, but in Malaysia, a lot of us have this perception that if your published article, for example, is listed in, let's say the impact factor is about 8 or it's 9, and people will say that, wow, you know, congratulations, you know, you did so well. And if you publish in a journal and your impact factor is 0.2 or 0.1, people will just look at you and like, congratulations. You know, the tone is different. So in Malaysia, a lot of times people have this perception that the higher the impact factor, the better quality your article is. Now, the answer to me, now this is my personal opinion, is not just based on impact factor. Okay, to me, if you want to talk about quality, I always use the ABS and the ABDC ranking to rate the quality of your paper. I will explain to you why this thing is important in the literature review section in a short while. Okay, so now I'm going to start off on writing an article. Okay, now in an article, the most important thing that you need to think about is definitely the title, because if you have a very good title, that will lead to citation and that will lead to a lot of downloads. You already win the game, you know, by having a good title. You know, I always tell this to many people, there is no point for you to publish your articles and at the end of the day, nobody download or nobody cite your article. It doesn't make sense. So you need to have a very, very catchy titles in order for you to get all those kind of downloads, you know, and citations. Now, a title, of course, to be you have to be very concise, you know. Like some publishers, they have limits, you know. They want you to have your title between like 20 words or maybe 15. Some publishers like Elsevier has no word limits. Yeah. So anyway, the key idea is that it must be concise, it must be accurate, and it must be informative. When I look at a title, for example, like one of my paper published in Elsevier, NFC mobile credit card, the next frontier of mobile payment. The title must represent your paper. From the title, I will know that, this paper is basically about near-field communication. It's about mobile, or it could be about credit card, and it's perhaps on mobile payment. Okay. Now, it is very important that you should try to avoid abbreviation unless this abbreviation is something well-known that people knows about. Now, the key question many people ask is that how do you write a catchy title? Okay, it's easy to say that, you know, use a catchy title, but how do you actually write a catchy title? Now, writing a journal paper is not like writing a thesis. When you write a thesis, right, you use all those kind of very traditional words like, you know, and investigations and empirical analysis. That's okay for thesis, not for journal. If you do that, you know, nobody is going to download your article. So try to be as catchy as possible. Play with words. Now, if you were to ask me, how do you get a very good catchy titles? Simple. Okay, like for example, Malaysia EPF declares 30%. You know, so people will be very curious. Like, is it true? And people will want to download. So in my opinion, if you want to find a very catchy title, use newspaper style. Okay, look at newspaper, how they form that kind of titles. Or another good example is look at these practitioner journals like Harvard Business Review. Now, Harvard Business Review has a lot of good catchy titles. Look at how they customize the title. You know, why do your employees resist new technology, for example? You know, or how to get your employees to report their COVID-19 risk, and so on. So that will motivate people to actually download and read your article. You know, last year, I remember I did a workshop with one of my participants on this thing called grant writing. And I remember one of this group, you know, they came up with a very catchy title, Ghosts for Sale, okay, the dark side of dark side of tourism. You know, this kind of titles, when I look at it, it's like, my gosh, you know, even I'm not interested with your topic. I'm very curious about what are you writing. So that actually motivates people to download your articles. All right. So again, the first key thing is try to use a catchy title as part of your paper. Okay, so remember, writing a thesis and writing a journal paper is different. Writing a thesis, you have to use the traditional and conventional method like an investigations, an empirical analysis, but that is not for journal. Okay, now according to Emerald, this was based on their statistics. They said that short titles, like for example, between 6 to 10 words, leads to about 50 to 60% of downloads. Means there are more downloads. All right. Okay. Now the next thing after your title, what is the next key most important thing? Now for a reviewer, and even maybe for an editor as well, the next key thing is that if I see a catchy title, okay, I will proceed to download your paper, but whether I want to continue to read, it is very much depends on your abstract. Okay, so your abstract must be able to sell your paper. Okay, because this is the first thing that people actually look for before they decide whether to continue to read or maybe to even reject your paper. So the key thing is that your abstract must have a unique selling point or unique selling proposition. What makes your article so unique? Okay, of course, the other key important thing is that it must be self-contained as well. Okay, you must not say that, refer to figures, refer to footnotes, refer to tables. You don't even need to cite any papers in your abstract. Now, the only issue about this kind of abstract is that normally abstract has word count limitations. Like for example, between 100 to 400 words. I give you a very good example, like Indrianawati. Indrianawati abstract is about 100 words. Elsevier, or maybe even for Emerald as well, is about 350 to 400 words. So now the key thing is that your article is about 12,000 words, for example. So how are you going to summarize everything in 300 to 400 words? What's the best way for you to summarize? Now, to me, the best way for you to summarize in a proper abstract is to follow the Emerald format. Okay, so this is an example of my published article, Mobile Applications in Tourism, the Future of the Tourism Industry, published in Industry Management Data System. Now, what do I mean by a good structural abstract? Now, a good structural abstract should contain, according to Emerald, number one, it must include your purpose of your study. Okay, you must explain what is your study about. I'll explain this in the next slide. You must also talk about your design, your methodology, okay, your approach, your findings, your practical implications, your originality, or maybe if you have social implications, you could add that as well, and so on. Okay, so this is a proper abstract, which I call it the Emerald format. If you do not know how to write, just follow this structure and you can never go wrong. Okay, so this is one of the latest paper that we have just recently published in Supply Chain Management, an international journal, blockchain-based halal traceability system, hype or reality. Now, look at how we write our abstract. Number one, we write about what is the purpose of this article about, and then we talk about we talk about the design. Okay, design in terms of your methodology. Where do you collect your samples from? The kind of models that you are actually using, the kind of analysis that you're using to analyze the kind of data, the findings. Okay, based on your whatever analysis that you did. What are the findings that you have found, and what is this uniqueness of your paper in terms of originality? So this is what we call a structural abstract, and to me, this is the best abstract that you should follow, the Emerald format. You can never go wrong. Okay, so this is abstract. Now, the next most important thing again is really about your keywords. Okay, because if you use the right keywords, people will discover your article. If you use the wrong keywords, no one is going to discover your article. And sometimes you need to reflect this carefully. Like for example, if you're going to do research, like for example, on online banking, now you have to ask yourself, when someone search for things like online banking, the keywords that they are going to use, are they going to use internet banking, or are they going to use the word e-banking, or are they going to use maybe mobile banking and so on? So you need to know the right keywords to use so that your article can be discovered. Okay, now, according to Google search engine optimization, if you want your article to be discovered, okay, you want your article to be the top 1, top 2, top 3, top 4, top 5, make sure that your title, your abstract, and your keywords share the similar keywords. Like for example, if your article is, your keyword is mobile payment, okay, make sure that your title has mobile payment, make sure that your abstract has mobile payment as well, and make sure that your keyword has mobile payment as well. Then people will be able to discover your article easily. All right. So that's about keywords. So using the right keywords will enable your article to be discovered easily. And sometimes, right, this is just my personal opinion. If you use the popular keywords, there are chances your paper will get downloads as cited. Like a very good example, like currently you talk about this thing called Industry Revolution 4.0. Yeah, so if you have these keywords like Industry Revolution, there are chances that, you know, your paper will be discovered. You know, I shared this many times ago. I think last year or last 2 years, we have a paper published in expert system with application. It's an Elsevier journal, and we use this. The paper is about cloud computing, you know, so I was just thinking, you know, okay, how can I get my paper, you know, in terms of citations and downloads? And I realized I use IEEE database, and I found that the most searchable keywords is actually Industry Revolution. So I know that a lot of people are actually looking for papers that are related to Industry Revolution. So to me, cloud computing is actually quite related to Industry Revolution, but not totally related. So what I did was I actually put in the keyword Industry Revolution, and Industry Revolution was also part of my title. But the funny part was the article did not exactly mention about Industry Revolution. The idea is that we know if we do that, our paper will get more downloads and citation. The only problem was the reviewer actually picked that up and said that, hey, how can you write the word Industry Revolution, but yet in your paper it doesn't mention anything? So we have no choice but to, you know, make those kind of changes. Okay, so this is something about introduction. Now, the next thing about a paper is, again, is definitely your introduction. Yeah. Now, an introduction, right, is, to me, for me as a reviewer as well, you know, this morning I was just looking at my published record. As of today, I have reviewed almost, I think it's about 480 Clarivate analytics articles. So to me as a reviewer, right, the first thing that we actually look for is, you know, in your introduction, you know, the impression whether to accept or to reject your paper really form from your introduction. So your introduction must be unique. You must be able to sell yourself. Now, how do you actually write a very good introduction? You know, 12 years ago, when I started, when I joined the academia, I remember I follow my supervisor. My supervisor is Professor Ui Keng Boon. I remember I followed him to one of the conferences in Bangkok. So we went together, you know, to Thailand, and he showed me that, hey, Garry, you know, that guy over there, he's a very famous editor from Elsevier. Go and talk to him. You know, so at the time, 12 years ago, I was very shy, you know. I was like, okay, you want me to talk to him? So what kind of things am I going to talk to him? You know, I can't just go and approach him and say, you know, how's the food? You know, it doesn't make sense. So I just, you know, randomly went out. Okay, I forced myself to say hi to him, so he said hi. Then I threw him a question. Okay, I asked him, Prof, you know, I am a very new academician. You know, you know, I just want to ask something. You know, I hope you can share with me. So he said, yeah, please ask. You know, ask whatever you want. So I asked him a very simple question. You know, I said, how do you write a good introduction? You know, because everyone knows that introduction is so important. You write a catchy introduction, people will read. So he asked me one simple question. Okay, his thing is, have you published before? So I say, yeah, I published my article before. And he asked me, at which index? So I said it was a Scopus article. I said, wow, that's good, fantastic. So he asked me the next thing, okay, do this, Garry. If you want to improve how to write introduction, do this. He said, today, go home, download an article which is higher ranked than your published article. So So what do you mean by a higher rank than your published article? So I have published in Scopus. So the higher rank, of course, is Clarivate Analytics, or formerly known as ISI. So I say, okay, I go back and download. He said, just download a paper, okay, a day. Okay, so in a year, every day you download an article, just focus on introduction. Okay, he said this, focus only on introduction. In 1 year, you have 365 days, okay? And you will have if you constantly do this throughout the year, you have 365 days of writing an introduction. No, when he told me that, right, I felt kind of like, seriously? Are you sure? You know, I did not expect this from an editor, you know, it's like, you expect that something more practical, you know, like a real tips on how to write, not like asking you to download article, read an introduction. But I took it with an open mind. I went back home, okay. I told myself that if this is what the editor said, and he's a very top editor, and he tells me this, I should, you know, be open-minded, should listen to him and just give it a try. Okay, so what I did was I went home. I start reading, okay? Now, of course, the first 10, 15, 20 articles, I find this a waste of time. You know, it doesn't make sense, you know, just reading introduction. But I began to realize something. When I reached the 60 or 50 or 70 papers, the more I read, right, I began to see one very important thing, pattern of writing. What I mean by pattern of writing, it means that I can already see that every introduction has a certain style that you can replicate. I use the word replicate. So I began to see that this pattern is also used by another paper, and a third paper, and a fourth paper. Once you are able to see the pattern, you just know what to write, how to write, and how to play. It's just about playing with words. Now, what do you mean by this kind of patterns? Now, a lot of papers, when they want to write their introduction, they always start with this thing called the big picture. Okay, so I just give you a very good example. Like if I want to write papers on mobile payment, okay, mobile payment. I'm gonna start off by telling the world, like, what is this thing called mobile payment? I'm gonna say that mobile payment around US, you know, in Europe, this is how it is, okay? And then I will use this thing called funnel approach. Funnel approach means from a big picture, I will start to move to a smaller picture. So I will start to tell about mobile payment around the world, and then I will move on to mobile payment in Malaysia perspective. So it gives the readers, it gives the reviewer the impression that you know your work very well. Okay, it's not self-contained only in Malaysia. I know what is going on around the world. So writing an introduction, you must always use a funnel approach. Tell people about the big picture. Move on to the smaller picture, and then tell us what exactly is that problem. Okay, that basically is your research gap or your research problem. And then tell us why do you think that this study is exactly important? Why your model that you're going to propose later on is important to solve this research problem. Okay, and of course, the other things that you need to take note is that you have to tell people about the objectives, you know, so what at the end of the day, you know, how this kind of research will be useful for your practitioners, for the societies, you know, and henceforth. So these are some of the basic things that you need to write. Now, a good suggestions for introduction is that, if possible, try to bring in more up-to-date citations, okay? More up-to-date citations in your introduction, because it gives the reviewer, it gives the readers, you know, the editors, the feel that your article is fresh, is new. Now, imagine if I'm the reader, if I'm the reviewer, and I start to read your introduction, and all the articles that you cited, 1980, you know, 1990s, early, and henceforth, it gives people the wrong idea that this is probably a very outdated paper. You know, the impression is formed right away from your introduction. I'm not saying that, you know, you should not cite outdated articles. Citing theories, you know, like for example, TAM, Technology Acceptance Model, which is 1989, is fine. Theories, all these are fine. I'm just saying that if possible, try to bring in as many up-to-date citations as possible as part of your introduction. Okay, Gita, how many more minutes do I still have?
Let me see. Oh, 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Oh, okay. Sorry, I need to go as fast as possible, okay? Now, the next thing is about your literature review. Now, writing a literature review, right, I'm not going to tell you what exactly is a literature review. I think most of you know, but what makes a paper accepted, okay? The differences why a paper is accepted is, the two most important things. You must have a good theory, okay? You must have a good theory. If you have a very good theory, it's going to bring a lot of excitement in your paper. Now, the other thing that a good literature review should also include is the discussion of your past studies, okay? Now, what it means by theory? Now, there are two different kinds of theories that you must know. One is what we call a grand theory, and what is what we call a mid-range theory. Now, a grand theory basically is an abstract theory whereby it doesn't really have a construct. I give you a very good example of these grand theories. It could be something like the theory of gravity, okay? So what do you mean by theory of gravity? Anything that you throw up will bounce down, okay? So if you're going to do any studies that talks about something that goes up and it falls down, you can refer that to this theory called the gravity theory, which is what we call a grand theory. Now, there is also another kind of theory, which is what we call a mid-range theory. A mid-range theory basically means that it's a theory with variables, okay? A theory with variables. Now, these are examples of theory with variables, okay? Like, for example, theory of planned behavior, diffusions of innovations, technology acceptance models, and henceforth. Now, a good paper, okay? A good paper must have theories, okay? You must have theories, and theories that you are going to use must not be descriptive. You must criticize a theory to say that what are the weaknesses and henceforth. That shows like quality of your argument in your literature review, okay? So please take note now, you need to combine these kind of theories. Now, something that you should avoid in writing your literature reviews, number one is that you should not write in a descriptive form. Like, for example, Tan found relational bonds affect behavior intention to adopt mobile learning. Wong found relational bonds, blah, 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 and so on. Now, this kind of writing has no value. It doesn't tell us as a reader, it doesn't tell us as a reviewer anything about the article. You need to stress on, for example, the limitations, you know, what are the originality, you know, what's so great about this kind of study. So there must be some proper in-depth discussion. Now, the other thing that you should avoid in writing a literature review is that you must avoid this thing called a black box theory. Now, what it means by a black box theory? Now, I give you a very good example. I give you one IV and DB, independent variable and dependent variable. Like, for example, usefulness, okay? Higher usefulness will lead to higher intention, okay? Higher usefulness leads to higher intention. The way people write is that the more useful something is, it will lead to intention, okay? That's how normally people write in their literature review or in their hypothesis. Now, to us as a reviewer, this doesn't tell us anything. So what? So I know that usefulness will lead to intention, but how does it exactly lead to intention? So you need to write the process. Okay, how does usefulness finally, that process, how it leads to B, how it leads to C, and finally it leads to intention. Like, I give you a very good example. If you want to write and to avoid this black box theory, so you must say that, okay, using mobile payment, for example, use something called usefulness. You know, that usefulness, for example, to us, it could be saving of time. You know, I don't have to spend more time to do A, B, C, D, E. I can spend more time with my family. I am happy, and that is the reason why, because of this usefulness, it will lead me to use this thing more often. So you need to explain that process, and explaining that process is what we call avoiding the black box theory, and that will give you very good credibility to your arguments. Okay, now another thing that you must avoid is what we call a laundry list. Okay, I know this is very popular in writing thesis. You know, my students will say that, Gary, you know, I have cited 100 articles in one paragraph. Do you mean that is good? You know, I say it is not good. You know, to me, it's nothing. Okay, it doesn't tell anyone any information apart that, you know, this is author A, author B, author C, author D. Now, this kind of thing is okay, really. This is really okay for thesis writing, but not for a journal article writing. Okay, again, this is what we call a laundry list. It doesn't tell people anything. Try to avoid this sort of writing. Now, the other thing about writing a good literature review is that try to bring in quality of citations. Okay, quality of citations here means that you don't just cite any articles that you can find. Cite good articles. Now, when I use the word cite good articles, basically I was actually referring to the ABS ranking list and the ABDC ranking list that I've just shared earlier. You know, you see, it's very simple. Reviewers are expert in their own areas. Like for example, if I receive a paper, let's say in tourism, for example, in my mind, I will know that, okay, the best journals Okay, example, the best journals in the world for tourism could be Tourism Management, Annal of Tourism, Tourism Review, and henceforth. And if I look at your article and you did not cite any of these top ranking journals, I would have the impression that your article is below a certain par, or you may not even know the areas, and so on. So you must cite quality journals to give people that kind of confidence that you know your work. And more importantly is that you must know, okay, the most important thing, you must know the top articles in your area. Okay, you must know who are the key authors, the important authors in your area. Okay, when you cite them, it gives people the impression, it gives people the kind of confidence that, again, you know your work very well. Now, I'm going to give you, this is the one that I've just mentioned earlier, the APDC ranking list. You can just Google, okay, master journal list. So you can actually filter by the category. As I said, the highest quality is the A-star journal, and it's really, really difficult for you to, to get in. You have A, you have B, and you have C as well. So you can filter by different categories, like in marketing, in management, in accounting, economics, information system, and henceforth. The other one is what we call the ABS ranking, the one that is used in UK, or we call it the Academic Journal Guide. And the top ranked journals are the 4-star journals, the 4, the 3, the 2, and the 1. Okay, so when you cite all these top quality journals, again, it gives people the confidence. It gives people that kind of like assurance that you know your work very well. Okay, that's why I always say this to a lot of participants. Wherever I ask them, are you doing your PhD, for example? They say, yeah, I'm doing my PhD. So I say, what area of your PhD are you doing in? They say that, oh, I'm doing information system, or I'm doing tourism. So my next key important question to them is, do you know, let's say, for example, you say your area is in information system. Do you know what are the top 10 journals? Can you name me the top 10 journals in your area? That's the first most important thing that you have to know. Another thing is that I ask, do you know what are the top 10? Who are the top 10 authors in your area? Well, why I need to stress on this is because you need to know who they are. You need to know the journal so that you are able to cite them to show people the confidence that you know your research areas. Okay, so these are examples of top quality journals in information system like MISQ, JMIS. These are really, really top quality articles. Yeah, CHB, DSS, level 3, like ESWA, expert system with information, information societies, and henceforth. Okay, the other ranking that people normally use in order to talk about quality is FT. Yeah, Financial Times is used by a lot of universities to compete in the MBA world ranking. There is also another list which people normally use in other universities. Is the Dallas list in US. Okay, so these are some of the quality lists that you can use in order for you to cite. Okay, I'm going to give you a sample, okay, of an article. It's not my article. This is from Professor George Hensler. If you have used his software Adanko, you should have, know his name. He's a statistician. So now I just want to show you, how he cites his article. Look at the kind of article that he cites. MIS Quarterly is a ABS 4-star journals. This journal itself, right? I was just attending another webinar recently, and I was told that it takes about 5 years to get your paper accepted in this kind of top quality journals. Yeah, you look at the other kind of quality journals that he cited: Academy of Marketing Science, European Journal of Operation Research, MISQ again, Psychometrica, Journal of Marketing Research, Journal of Operation Management, European Business Review, Journal of Academy Marketing Science. Now again, why I want to stress this is because a lot of viewers, what they do is that before they actually start reading your article, they look at your citations. Okay, they of course, it's not to look for their name, but to see whether you know your work. So when you cite all this top quality, we know that you know your work, and it gives us a lot of confidence that your article is, and so on. Okay, now I'm not going to stress too much on research methodology because I have less than 5 minutes more to go, if I'm not mistaken. Now, research methodology, if you were to ask me, a good methodology is you can be a quantitative researcher. Yeah, you can be a qualitative researcher. It doesn't matter. Okay, just most important thing is know who are these experts in your area. Try to download their articles. Look at the way they write, how they structure, how they display the table. I use the word mimetic, okay? Follow like how they do. You will never go wrong, okay? So these are something about research methodology. Now, the last two parts, the discussion. Now, discussion again, many a times is really one of the weaknesses for Asian writers. Okay, when you want to write your discussion, okay, you cannot just tell people that your paper is accepted, your result is accepted or is rejected. You need to support. If it's accepted, what kind of supports from which past countries, from which past author, and you need to justify why as well. And if it's rejected, you need to explain why as well. Okay, so these are key elements of a good discussion. And towards the end, your implication. I use the keyword shout out loud. Okay, tell the whole world what is so great about your paper. Now, writing a thesis, a lot of times people will just think about writing an implication, will only consider things like managerial implications. How can these studies have a contribution to practitioners? And maybe they will write another section on theoretical. How does that contribute to the academicians? No, that's all. Now think about expanding your implications by writing about methodological implication. How does this kind of studies, contribute in terms of methodology? And of course, how does this kind of studies contribute in terms of society as well, social implications? So to me, if you want to write a good implications, include all of this: managerial, methodological, social, and theoretical. So I have one paper which I published with my supervisor, Professor Uy. Gender and age, do they really moderate mobile tourism shopping behavior? Is a article published in Elsevier Telematics. So in this article, this is how we actually structure our contributions in terms of methodological, social, theoretical, and henceforth. All right. So this is an example of paper that you can actually refer if you want to find out about how to write this contribution. Okay. So that's it, Gita. Exactly 40 minutes. Yeah. So if you need to look for me, you can find me or add me on Facebook, Garry Tan Wei Han, or you can just drop me an email. All right. So thank you very much, Gita.
Thank you very much, Dr. Garry. I'd love to give you an hour or 2 hours more because we can't get enough, right? Because
okay, no
you're so passionate about this, and wow, it's such. Thank you for the honor. Thank you. And last but not least, the third speaker is from Dr. Muhammad Haseeb. Good morning, Dr. Haseeb.
Good morning.
Good morning. Dr. Haseeb is the editor, reviewer, and author of several high-ranked Scopus and ICI journals. His current impact factor is 38.50, Scopus citations over 1,800, and H index of 21. It is such an honor to have you here, Dr. Haseeb, and please, the time is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay, I share my presentation. I hope all of you can see the slides. Okay, first of all, thank you very much, and very good morning from Kuala Lumpur. And I'm very happy and excited after listening, the very knowledgeable persons and how to write, how to convert the thesis paper, extract the paper from the thesis. And I was listening Dr. Garry. Okay, very valuable, information and knowledge that how you can have a good paper. Okay, so and I was also wondering that how two researchers have a similar kind of thinking. My contents are very much similar with Dr. Garry. So I was, exciting for while listening Dr. Garry presentation. So his perspective is actually from the author perspective. Okay, so my perspective is from the editor's perspective. So the same thing, what he was explaining. So as an editor, if any editor is looking at the paper, he considered all these things. While he now in the presentation, you will find that how an editor is look at the paper at once a paper is submitted to the journal. So actually, in our mind, whenever we submit our paper, so this is in our mind, okay, that we are going to submit our paper, okay, and there are a lot of reviewers and editors and you know, the staffs who are ready to kill our paper. Actually, this is not a reality. This is actually, you know, misunderstanding among the reviewers, okay, among the authors, okay. So we have to be motivated. First thing, we need to remember the people who are publishing the papers in the good and high ranked journals, they are also human, okay, and they also have a same brain as we do have, okay. So first of all, we have to, you know, whenever we are submitting the paper, we have to be, you know, out of the fear, okay. So this is not a clear picture. I can see, you know, a lot of on many social medias and among the researchers, okay, this is the impression, okay, that you are going to submit the paper and the reviewers and editors and editorial staff, they have 1,000 reasons to reject your paper. But this is not true. If you have submitted your paper with the proper, following the proper way, and you have followed the guidelines, okay, and you have do your work properly, so this is not a clear, this is not a right picture who's explaining the submission of your paper. So from the editor perspective, this is not true. Okay. So usually, what is the scheme of usual peer review? I know most of researchers here in this seminar, they know the procedure, but of course, some are the new researcher. Okay. So this is the common peer review process. Okay. If once a paper is submitted to the journal, okay, it is go to the, after first initial evaluation, it go to the editor, okay, and editor make the decision, either he want to reject the paper or want to send to associate editor for further review. Okay, so associate editor further will send this paper to the reviewer, and the reviewer will give the comments and send back to the what is called chief editor and the associate editor, and the associate editor will make the decisions. So first, initial screening. What journal look at your initial screening? They look at your initial screening, first of all, high similarity index, okay? So if your similarity index, this is a usual practice for good journals, high ranked journals, Elsewhere and Emeralds and all these journals, that if your similarity index is 15%, okay, 50% or more, okay, and your overall 15%, and your first source is more than 3%, so what is called, the journal will reject your paper, or they will ask you to reduce your similarity. So make sure before you are submitting your paper, your similarity index should less than 15%. And this is not only that your similarity index is less than 15% overall, it is also important that the first source should be less than 3%, okay, 3% or 2%, okay. So because sometimes your similarity index is maybe 10%, but your first source is 8% or 7%. So this is also not acceptable. Okay, so this is the first thing you have to make sure before you are submitting your paper. If you are violating this limitation, so your paper will be desk reject. Okay. Other thing, if your paper is having formatting errors, a lot of formatting errors, you have not followed the formatting guideline from the journal. So there is a high chance that your paper will be desk reject, or they might ask you to reformat your paper, okay, and submit back, okay. And if the author's information is having an error, so you have not properly wrote your affiliations, your email address, and all these things, so this is also a chance that your paper will be get back to you. And if your paper is totally out of the scope, okay, for example, if the journal is economics journal and you are submitting your management paper, so even in the initial screening, okay, the front desk people, okay, staff, they easily can trace that your paper is totally out of the scope. Okay, out of the scope and totally out of the scope is two different things. Okay, if they are they can see your from your keyword that your paper is in the scope, okay, but don't know that it's totally in the scope or not. Okay, so the front desk will forward your paper to the editor. Okay, but if they can see that your paper is totally out of the scope, so your paper will go for desk rejection. And the number 5 is, this is a basic guideline. Usually the publisher give to the front desk. Okay, and number 5, the numbers of word. Okay, number of words if less than or more than general guideline. For example, if journal is accepting minimum 4,500 words and maximum 7,500 words, and your paper is only, let's say, 2,500 words or 10,000 words or 12,000 words, so of course your paper is not going for peer review. Okay, although your paper is very good, your paper having a very good idea whatsoever. So if your paper is not following the basic guideline, okay, of length of the paper, so there is high chance that your paper will be get back to you with the rejection, or they might ask you journal. Sometimes they simply reject your paper, or sometimes they ask to reduce the length of your paper. So initial decision. So now if your paper is get passed from the front desk, okay, so it's go to the chief editor. So now chief editor need to make the decision. Okay, so decision will be, is the paper is out of the scope. Again, now before was totally out of the scope, now is out of the scope. Out of the scope means this journal is particularly for microeconomics, okay, or environmental economics, okay, but you have submit the paper managerial economics, okay, although both is economics, okay, journal is accepting environmental economics or energy economics, but you have submit the paper managerial economics or fiscal economics, okay. So in this case, the front desk cannot decide that this paper is out of the scope or not out of the scope, but this decision will be made by the chief editor that this paper is out of the scope. Okay, and then the editor usually read the abstract. Okay, so if they find that your paper having a lot of language errors, okay, so there is high chance that in the initial decision, okay, from the chief editor, before go for review, your paper might get reject. Okay, and the third, quality of references. As Dr. Garry was explaining, that this is very, very important, that you should cite your papers from the top journals, okay, from your field. It is very, very important. Okay, so simply the editor go to your reference list, and easily the editor can see that from where you have cite your studies. Okay, doesn't matter how good your paper, doesn't matter how big contribution you do have, okay, this is enough to see from your reference that if you are citing your you have citation from the low quality journals, okay, so this is a sign that you have not discussed, because the editors are very, very busy, super busy. Okay, so they might not go for send your paper for review. Okay, so this is one of the sign and one of the standard of quality, that if you have not used the citation, okay, you have not cite the papers from top tier journals, okay, or renowned journals from your area, so meaning that this is assumption that your paper have no good quality. Okay, so if you have cited, so you have passed another step. Okay, writing style. This writing style is also very important. Okay, you should have use the classical way of writing. Okay, your paper having a basic contents. Your basic content means you have an introduction, you have a literature review, you have a methodology, you have results and conclusions. So this is a classical way of writing. Okay, so most of the journals, they like to have a classical way of writing. Okay, so otherwise, sometimes I receive the paper, so I have to find where is the methodology, where is results, and what the method they want to use it, what the conclusion, what is the policy implications, and what is other content. So you have to follow the systematic way of writing. Okay, we are not discussing here about the contribution of your study. This is a writing style. So this is very important. Okay, so your writing style should be very good. Okay, and then usually the editor look at the significance of the study. okay, that how your study is significant, how your study is important, because to survive in the top tier journals, okay, in the top list, you need to get the citation. This is also one of the responsibility of our editor, that how is running the journal. Okay, so he need to look at your problem. Okay, what the problem you want to discuss. Okay, so if your problem is genuine, okay, if your nature of the problem is genuine, and you are discussing the problem which is a genuine problem, a real problem, okay, so this is a sign that your paper is going for peer review. And affiliation of the authors, I actually, for myself, I don't support this idea, because we are by this way we are violating the idea of peer review. Okay, so I have experienced by myself quite many times that if you have include some renowned authors, okay, so your paper is high chance of acceptance. Okay, so if you are just master students or PhD student, okay, so your affiliation does matter. Although this is not in your hand, but it does matter. Okay, although even I myself is not supporting this idea. Okay, so because this idea is violating the concept of peer review. Okay, so the affiliation of the authors should not be matter, but in the reality it does matter. Okay, so let's assume your paper is already past the first review, okay, from the review from the editor. Okay, so editor sent to the associate editor for to find proper reviewer. Okay, so this is a duty of associate editor to find the appropriate reviewers, okay, from your field. Okay, so that he can also take the reviewers from your suggested list. Okay, so whenever you are submitting your paper, okay, suggest reviewers carefully. Okay, don't just suggest your friends. Okay, okay, you can suggest your friends, okay, but they should be from your what is called area. Okay, and they should have a good grip from your area if you want to suggest anyone. Okay, so this can help a journal to process your paper fast. Okay, so after the reviewer, they allocate the time to reviewers. After they get back the review comments from the reviewers, they have to evaluate. Okay, how to evaluate? On what basis the editor have to evaluate the comments from the reviewer? Okay, the quality of comments. Quality of comments means how rigorously reviewer have give the comments. Okay, the reviewer just have say very good, very good, very good. Okay, and no comments, or just there are few terms. Sometimes if we want to just avoid, we have already accept for review, and we actually don't really want to review the paper. Okay, so people sometimes what they say, language error, problem statement is not clear. So this kind of the comments are very general comments. Okay, so editor, because they have a very good experience, day and night they are reading the comments, and they are dealing with the research papers, so they easily can trace that the reviewers was not serious. Okay, he does not give the comments properly. Okay, so there is high chance that editor will resend your paper to another reviewer. Okay, if he not satisfied from the comments. Okay, and rationality of the comments. Okay, this is also does matter, rationality of the comments. If somebody have give the comments, okay, about your paper which is not related to that is not rational. Okay, so this is a high chance that the editor will not accept the reviewer comments. Okay, and also decision on the majority. Okay, sometime editor receive 3 or 4 review reports. So one is saying rejected, another is saying pass with the major, another saying pass with the minor. So now this is the editor duty to make the decision. Okay, so usually they make the decision on the basis of majority, that what the majority are saying. Okay, so if all four reviewers, 3 reviewers have passed the first criteria, quality of comments. If all have a quality of comments, all having the rational comments, all having given the rational comments, then after that they will make the decision on the basis of majority. Okay, here I want to describe with you the duty of editor. Okay, so the duty of editor is responsible to evaluate the reviewer comments carefully. Okay, should be avoided unnecessary revisions. Okay, sometimes they just not look at properly the comments and given by the reviewers, and they keep sending again and again for revision. Okay, this has happened with me. In MDPI, there is a journal sustainability having is a Q1, what this called, having impact factor 2 is top journal. Okay, so in my field, in my area, so what I submit, and after 4 or 5 revision, what was my final paper was totally different. That was not my idea. Although my paper got accepted, my paper was published. Okay, but if I look at my previous idea and the idea which was accepted, it was not matching. Okay, because I got too many unnecessary revisions. Okay, so you cannot, you know, all the time you cannot, although you can argue with the reviewer. Okay, but if they have given the 10 comments, okay, so you cannot simply say I'm not agree with this comment. Okay, I'm not agree with this comment. Okay, so you have to be used, you know, some diplomatic way. Okay, to some comments you have to incorporate, some wherever you can, somehow you can incorporate the comments. Okay, so this is the editor duty to not to give unnecessary revisions. Otherwise your paper, your submit paper and your accepted paper was totally different. Okay, and what is called, I have already faced this situation and this problem. So some tips. Okay, as I mentioned in my start, okay, this is very many things are very similar to Dr. Garry, okay, and Dr. Yaacob. Okay, they have explained already about these things. Okay, so this is a kind of repetition. Okay, so cite only the latest 5 years only. Okay, you can cite theories. Okay, of course the theory sometimes is starting 100 years ago, 200 years ago, that is not a problem. So for empirical paper, you want to cite only from the last 5 years. This is a suggested. Okay, so we assume in the social sciences, I'm not sure about pure sciences. In the social sciences and management, we assume that any study which is already more than 5 years old, okay, that is not suggested to cite. Okay, so we don't give the preference. Okay, so that is why whenever we are calculating the site score in Scopus and in Web of Science, we calculate the impact factor. So we calculate on the basis of last 5 years studies. Okay, so you can see that how the last 5 year studies are very, very important. Okay, and only cite the quality studies. Okay, quality studies like Q1 and Q2 journals. Okay, good formatting, again I mentioned and in the start that good formatting is very, very important. It gives the first impression. Okay, if your first impression is bad, okay, it doesn't matter how good your paper, how good language you have used it not give the good impression to the editor. Okay, so give good impression to the editor. If you have made the tables, okay, make sure all the tables are what is called labeled. Okay, all the tables having a same what is called formatting. Okay, it's not like one table is lining, another table is figured. Okay, so you all the tables, all the figures are systematic. Okay, so do the formatting very well. Okay, it will give very good impression to the editor. Okay, so because you have to, as I mentioned to you, good journals, they have ribu submissions. Okay, not hundreds, ribu submissions. Okay, and they accept only 100, 200, 300, 400 papers in a year. Okay, so they don't have a time to look at your paper if you not submit your paper with the proper formatting. Okay, so make sure before submitting the paper, your paper is very well formatted. Okay, and should cite from the key journals of the area. It is related to the first point. Okay, so as Dr. Garry have mentioned in his last slides, that you should know, okay, the top journals in your area. Okay, like I'm from the energy economics and environmental economics, so journals should be on my fingertips. Okay, which journals are top journals in my area? Okay, so your most of the citations should be from that area. Okay, should be from that journals. Okay, because if you send, again the same thing is, if you send to editor, your paper go to the editor simply will go to read, you don't have to read anything. Okay, simply will go to the reference list. Okay, and from the reference list easily can see that you are, you know, how serious researcher you are. Okay, if you have cite from the top journals, okay, from like for example in my area, energy economics and policy, okay, environmental science and pollution, sustainability, these are the top journals in my area. Okay, so I have to cite from that. Okay, another point is, make sure you are using some kind of referencing software. Okay, if I want to write here another, I want to add another point, that use any software for citation and reference, for example EndNote or Mendeley. Okay, so it will help you to what is called, make sure that your citation and referencing are matching. Okay, so this is also a good point to send your paper for review. Okay, your paper is not yet go for review. This is still with the what is called editor. Okay, so he look at your referring style also. Okay, and it is also easy for you to change the style. Okay, for example, if your paper is not get accepted for one journal and that journal is accepting APA style of referencing, and you have submit to, you want to submit to another journal and another journal is accepting IEEE, for example, or Cambridge or Harvard style of referencing. So if you have used the any kind of software, EndNote or Mendeley, so you easily you can change the style of your reference. Okay, and make sure you are addressing genuine and genuine problem. Okay, you are addressing only the genuine problem. Okay, I received too many papers from Indonesia, sorry to mention the country name. Okay, also received from Iraq and Russia and all the other countries also, because frequently I receive paper from there. So that is why I mention it, that banking, this problem in Bandung. So how many people in the world know Bandung? Okay, so you are addressing, okay, I support by myself, I support that you should what is called discuss the local problems. Okay, but unfortunately journals, they don't like a paper discussed very narrow kind of problem. Okay, because again they have to think about the citation also, that how many people will cite the paper discuss about Surabaya and Bandung. Okay, so you have to make your paper at least at national level. Okay, so this is also, I received very good papers from Indonesia, very good papers, very good idea, and that's a genuine problem. Okay, so like I received, it was one paper on what is called a social problem solved in what is called Musalla. Okay, so people are getting together. Okay, this is a kind of social problem they was discussing, and at the end they solve the problem. Idea is very good. Okay, because the meaning of research is how you can solve the problem. Okay, but this is the drawback of what is called top journals. They don't accept what is called paper which is discuss the narrow topics. Okay, so because they have to look later on how many people will cite your studies. Okay, so format your paper according to the general guideline, as I mentioned earlier. Must send for language proofreading before submit the paper. Okay, so editor look at your language. Okay, so if your language is not good, okay, your English is not good, okay, although the editors have to think that the paper submitted is not from the English English speaking country. Okay, for us is English is a second language. Okay, but still what is called, this is fortunate or unfortunate, they look at your language also. Okay, so you have to make sure that before submitting the paper your language is perfect. Okay, so you submit your paper for proofreading to anyone, okay, who can thoroughly proofread your paper. Okay, and another tip is join with the authors who already publish papers in the good and top journals. Okay, collaboration, make the collaboration. Okay, so you can make the collaboration with UCSI University, you can make collaboration with the Taylor University. Okay, you can make the collaboration with the Islamic University, Malaysia. Okay, so this is a collaboration with the other co-authors, okay, with the other authors from different countries, preferable from different countries, okay, who are already having a good list of publications. Okay, so they will contribute in your paper. Okay, you have to convince them. Okay, of course that is not easy for them to easily accept somebody, okay, who's still new, or whose CV is not yet developed. Okay, so accept paper from there. So you can humbly request to them to contribute in your paper, okay, to be co-authored in your paper, and you can they will contribute on your paper in the different way. Okay, and that can also be a positive point to accept in the top journal. Okay, title as
5 more minutes, Dr.
yeah,
Haseeb.
sure. Okay, as Dr. Garry mentioned about the title. So is the title does matter? Yes, sure, it does matter. Okay, your title precise should not be too long. Okay, your title should be less than 30 words. Okay, it's preferable. Okay, and but this card don't mention but this card too long. And again should be catchy words. Okay, and if suddenly if somebody is look at your title, he really want to study what is quantile on quantile evidence. Okay, so actually similar kind of papers have been published in different journals. Okay, so this is the first impression you have to give to the editor. You have to push the editor to read your paper. Okay, so you have to be, you know, cosmetic your paper. Okay, so what is called, you have to push your editor to read your paper. So this is the first impression you are giving from the title, from the formatting, from the language. Okay, so what is called, then only they will read and find out you are discussing the problem or not. Okay, so title does matter. Okay, so this my paper just now published in Cleaner Production. This is a 7 impact factor. Okay, so what is called, when I analyze what was the one of the reason that paper got accepted in the top journal. So the title, first thing I found that the title is really catchy. Okay, so read your paper carefully and ask yourself either your paper is good enough to submit its particular journal. Ask yourself. Okay, if you yourself is telling you that this paper let la, I try la. Okay, jangan try. Okay, don't waste your time. Okay, so but don't you know, play your, you want to test your luck. Okay, this is not a platform to test your luck. Okay, you can test your luck in different other ways. Okay, but you can maybe play lottery or something like this. Okay, so but don't try your luck here to submit in the top journals by you know. So you have to ask yourself. Okay, you are one of the big reviewer of your paper. Okay, so you ask yourself, this paper is good enough to submit in a good journal or not. Okay, so you yourself will tell you that this paper is just replica or it's a really good paper to submit in the good journal. Okay, so once you yourself is satisfied, okay, you say yes, this is I have done a very good job. Okay, and my paper is quite good and it can go for this particular journal. This is within the scope. Okay, my no language error. Okay, my methodology is advanced and my paper is really different from the other. It's not just a replica. Okay, so once you fulfill all these criteria, all these steps, then you are able to you know, submit the paper and you try now. Okay, and before submission, once you satisfy by yourself, so ask any expert to review your paper. Okay, so you can request and should be trustworthy lah. Okay, so what is called, to review your paper and give the comments on your paper. Okay, so it can also help you to accept your paper in the particular top journal. Okay, so send reminder if you not get any review result of your paper. Send reminder. Don't push the editor. Don't push the editor. Okay, you can send reminder after 2 months. Polite reminder. Okay, dear editor, I am waiting for this. I have submitted. Can you please give us the review? Okay, so one of my paper was published after 3.5 years. 3.5 years. Okay, what is called, I show the patience. Okay, I show the patience. I send them the reminder after 1 month, 2 months, a very polite reminder. Okay, this is the maximum you can do. You can't fight with the editors. Okay, so what is called, this is the maximum you can do. You send a reminder. If you not get a review, don't every day send them emails and all these things that what happened to my paper, what happened to my paper, I am going for PhD viva, I'm going for promotion. They don't care. You want to go for PhD. This is a reality. We should accept the reality. Okay, so don't tell your personal problems to the editor. Okay, that you want to get married without published paper, you cannot get married. Okay, I received one request, such kind of request, that I'm waiting for the married. If my paper is not published, I cannot, graduate. If I not graduate, I cannot be married. Okay, so this kind of personal problem, okay, don't tell to the editor and all these things. Be professional. Okay, so be professional, and the maximum you can do, you can send a soft reminder, a polite reminder. Okay, so we have to understand that these people are very, very and super busy. Okay, they have family life, they have, their academic life. Okay, they are busy in the different journals. Okay, so we have to understand also. Okay, so because this is a reality, okay, we have to accept the reality. Okay, so thank you very much. This is all for myself, and congratulations to organize such a good seminar, and I'm very happy that my weekend is very fruitful. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Haseeb. I'd love to give you another 30 minutes or even an hour, but sadly, this is all we have. Thank you very much, Dr. Haseeb.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So after hearing from the three speakers, now we'd like to hear some shared experiences from university's point of view, lecturers, and also the students about their obstacles, their experiences in publication. So the first one will be from Dr. Dian Ekowati as the head of AGE from Airlangga University. The time is yours, Bu Dian.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity given to me as a panelist. My name is Dian Ekowati, and I'm a lecturer of a doctorate program in management, Faculty of Economics and Business in Airlangga. Welcome to everyone. And at the moment, I'm also assigned as the head of Airlangga Global Engagement, who's responsible for engaging with any international collaborations with Airlangga's global partners. Listening to all the speakers, actually, I can certainly relate to all the points. I myself once a PhD student in the UK, and similar to what Dr. Garry said, and also Dr. Haseeb says that, there are some ups and downs, of course. And actually, I remember my time, I spent almost 2 years instructed only to read and read, lots of readings, and I do appreciate those kind like an experience, because lots of reading certainly help you to refine the way you think, but certainly it needs lots more than readings to pass your PhDs. In this time as a lecturer, I surely working with also with PhD students, or in general with postgraduate students, and working with them is very interesting, especially as they have different backgrounds, different experiences, different writing skills, as well as different understandings toward particular issues relevant to their fields. But such different characteristics do create challenges for us to work with them. I often end up scratching what Dr. Garry said as laundry list. Yes, indeed, because I keep saying and emphasizing the list of articles that they put in conveying their ideas critically. So in this sense, I can learn that as a lecturers, we are expected not only to help facilitating with the concept, with the theory, but also understanding different cultural perspective, as well as the academic trainings that shape them to what they are today. As well as to unlearn and learn and critically think about the journey as a young researcher, as a postgraduate student. But talking from my perspective as a university administrator, my position as the head of global engagement is actually working with all units in the organizations. And I know that the publications has become one of the critical indicator for any university in the world to be assessed internationally based on their rankings and those kind of things. However, I do believe that the university cannot, cannot do so much without the help of the faculty, the departments, as well as the researcher itself. So in my position as in a global engagement office, I can say that the university has done many things to help the facilitating all the researchers to enhance their capacity and also helping the students to help them, publish. There are some and certain units in the university really aim to help all those kind of efforts to be in place. In my positions, in global engagements, we do try to help with this kind ways or mechanism that enable the researchers, the lecturers, and also the students to reach out to USCI and also with USM and also with tailors that, by reaching out with our partners, we do expect we can work hand in hand with our partners, with our, colleague researchers in different university, either to gain knowledge like what we have today, as well as having the opportunity to have a joint research schemes. And I do believe that in the university, even in our global engagement office, we do offer some schemes to help the researchers of Airlangga to engage in such kind collaborations, research schemes, and under different platforms that enable them to enhance not only the capacity but also the opportunity to publish in the international ranked journals. As for the PhD students, of course, we also have such kind different kind mechanisms that can help them to go through this kind of things, and to the faculty, to the departments, this kind of things already in place. And for postdoctorate programs, we have also in the university that can help the existing researchers, as well as someone who would like to have their postdoctorate program in Airlangga. It's open for everyone, especially if you came from different nationalities, or if you are an Indonesians studying from abroad. You are more than welcome. So all in all, I think I do believe that it needs more than an individual efforts to be able to publish, especially in a good ranked journal. We need some helping hands for the institutional perspective. It needs a lot more integrated endeavors for various parties, ensuring that such objective can be achieved. I think that's all for me. Thank you very much, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Bu Dian. And the second is the panelist from lecturer's point of view by Dr. Indrianawati Usman.
Thank you, Gita. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I'm Indrianawati Usman. People call me Bu Indin, from Doctoral Management of Airlangga University. First, of course, I like to thanks to and appreciate very much to Dr. Yaacob Dr. Garry and also Dr. Muhammad Haseeb. Thank you very much. Yeah, Pak Yaacob already give us a clear guideline how to convert dissertation into papers. It's very useful for a student. As we know, most of our audience today is doctoral students from all over Indonesia and also from another country, Malaysia, Pakistan, Yemen, and Iraq, and so on. Yeah, Nepal and China also. Yeah, I see from the list. Yeah, and Garry, you give us a detailed guideline. Yeah. About top tiers, yeah. My student asked me about what is top tier, Bu? What is top tier? What kind of top tiers, yeah? So today I hope they clear already about what is top tier and how to reach top tier. Is not very easy, I think, yeah. And also, Pak Haseeb, thank you very much. Yeah. You give us a step-by-step from editor perspective. It is very important also for us, so we know what editor do, why it's so difficult. Yeah, and you give us information about do and don't. Yeah, it is very important. In this moment, I'd like to take the opportunity to ask about how can I manage, yeah, as a study program, yeah, how can I manage and helping the student, because they have very limited time here, 3 until 4 years. And Bu Dian as from University give us a task is you must in top tiers. It's very difficult for us to do. So I want information from maybe Pak Haseeb, Garry, and also Pak Yaacob. Yeah, how can we conduct, yeah, concerning with their dissertation, publication, and limited time. Yeah, I think this is my question, and I will respond from the very wonderful speakers today. Thank you, Kita. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello, Kita.
You want me to respond your question? Yeah.
Or maybe kita have difficulties sound. Maybe we can try to Fiona. She is a student who sent a paper many times, but a success finally. Maybe everybody want to hear the story, the experience of Fiona. She is my younger students. Yeah, thank you. Gimana, Made kita? Yeah, okay.
Okay, thank you for the trust for me to participate in this international seminar. Thank you for the very insightful perspective from the 3 speakers, Dr. Yaacob, Dr. Garry, and Dr. Haseeb. It's a very insightful presentation, and I got so many knowledge about publication, especially for a top-tier journal. I'm Fiona. I am a PhD student in Management of Universitas Airlangga. Previously, I had an experience, a very valuable experience of submitting my article to one of the top-tier journals in the field of organizational behavior and human resource management. It's about number 8 journal of organizational behavior, which has around 164 H index. I collaborate with my supervisor, my senior PhD student, and other lecturer from other universities to work on the paper. We work on the organizational change topics about how top 11 universities in Indonesia undergoing change toward world-class university. Surprisingly, we got a good response from the top-tier journals. We passed the initial review by the editor, and we got our first round review from the 2 reviewers of Journal of Organizational Behavior. Even it got rejected in the end, but we get very meaningful perspective and a very constructive review from the two reviewers of the top tier journal to improve our quality of paper. The reviewers of top tier journals are really in the different level to another reviewer from Q3 or Q2 journal, because I think they use harsh criticism to enhance our quality of paper, and very concerned about our rigorous research method and very attention to detail. So if you like challenge and want to improve your quality of paper, try to submit your paper to a top tier journal. I think it's a very valuable experience. I also have an experience of becoming a reviewer for a Q2 journal, Journal of Organizational Change Management. I think the editors invited me as a reviewer because my published paper have the similar context, have the similar research method, and have the similar context for the journal, for one of the submitted paper on the Journal of Organizational Change Management. So I think the good portfolio is really matter for our journey as a young researcher, as a beginner researcher to our academic experience. And next, I have a question that most of the PhD students think about publication in a top tier journal. The quality of the writing style, such as how the paper is well written, straightforward, easy to follow, clear, and logical, is one of the criteria for a top tier journal article. But how can we, as a beginner researcher, to reach the quality of the top tier journal article? Should we have more experience first in writing for Q2 or Q3 journal first before we targeted the top tier journal? Okay, I think this is all for me, and thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. Thank you, Miss Fiona. And so that concludes our session. And now the most awaited, which is the Q&A session. So I have compiled the questions from both chat and Q&A section. Okay, but I'd like to ask our speakers to answer the questions from panelists first, if you don't mind. The first one is from Dr. Dian Ekowati, the first panelist. How to push students to love reading and understand that the process is indeed hard as this question. Okay, perhaps Dr. Yaacob would like to answer first, and then Dr. Garry, and last by Dr. Haseeb.
Okay, thank you, Burita, and thank you, Dian. I try to answer this question. In general, people in Asian, in our country, for example, Malaysia, Indonesia, in general, we don't read much compared to people in, another country. So it's not our culture, but I do believe we do reading. Okay, Malaysian people, Indonesian people, we read, but maybe we read other things. maybe we are more interested in reading, easy reading rather than scientific articles. So how to push students? I think institutional play role here, just like Dian mentioned, when individual people, when a person or as an individual don't have enough factor to push them to do writing, to do reading, then institutional play an important role. So just like we, for example, I think we can have some sort of workshop. We can have some sort of reward system. But to me, reading is a basic yeah, basic jobs for PhD student. If you are not ready to read a lot of articles, then perhaps you are not ready to be a PhD student. That's my very personal opinion, Bu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very honest. Dr. Garry, please.
Okay, this is just my frank opinion. A lot of times of Asian readers, right, they don't exactly know what to read, and they read the wrong article, and that actually demotivate them. Okay, so I think for me, like as a supervisor, the most important thing is that you need to give a list of journals to your students to read, okay? And that journals must have a list, like for example, these are Scopus journal, okay? I think if you are a beginner, start by reading Scopus journal, okay? And slowly move on to ISI, Clarivate Analytics, Index Journal, or higher impact journals and henceforth. So you need to show them the level, okay, so that they actually understand and they can see the differences between what is actually Scopus and what is actually this Clarivate Analytics articles and henceforth. So to me, this is something role of a supervisor. And if I may say this, right, it is also very important that as a supervisor, right, if you can give your student this opportunity, throw them a paper, okay, maybe a review paper, ask them, okay, tell me, for example, okay, in this area, your area, tell me what's wrong in this area. Let them criticize, let them stimulate their thinking mind, and then you tell them that, okay, you see, this is your perspective. You see how, we will actually respond, or how these other reviewers will actually respond. So you actually stimulate their thinking, to let them know what is right and what is wrong in terms of writing. That is from my viewpoint. But again, publishing is not an easy task. I can say this. I think most of us also can agree. Sometimes, to get a paper published in a very, very top ranked journals, it takes about maybe 2 years, or maybe even 3 years, or as I just say, MISQ, it takes about 5 years, So to me is that most important thing is that you must always tell your student never to give up. This is part and parcel of academicians, or to publish and henceforth. Yeah, the key thing is that resilience, continue to, tell your students never give up. Yeah, so that's what I have to say.
Thank you, Dr. Garry. Dr. Haseeb, could you part your opinion?
Yes. First of all, I think, for the students who are the master students right now in this conference, in this seminar, I request to the students who really want to join the PhD, please don't just join because you want to get the title of doctor. Okay, so don't put your life in the difficult situation, because the PhD journey is really long journey. Okay, and you should start it if you really want it. Okay, so actually this is the difference between in our developing country and in the developed country. Okay, in the developed country, somebody start PhD to address the problem. Okay, we start the PhD and then find out the problem. Okay, after start the PhD, we try to find the problem, which problem we need to address. Okay, there in the developed countries, they start the PhD to solve the problem. They already have the problem and they want to solve that particular problem. Okay, so once you already have the problem, no need to push somebody to go for reading. Okay, so that will be their passion, that how they can solve this particular problem. That is even in the social sciences or in the pure sciences. So they will spend day and night to read and digging the papers and find out what is called the literature. Okay, but of course we have little different scenarios. So in here, as Dr. Garry mentioned, that you can give the you have to guide. Okay, as a supervisor, okay, now it is your duty to guide, and student also need to understand this. Supervisor is there to guide you, okay, not to teach you. Okay, guiding and teaching is totally two different things. Okay, so your supervisor only can guide you. So as a supervisor, you guide the students, read these papers. Okay, and on after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you can have a cup of tea together. Okay, somewhere outside and discuss. Okay, what you have read in that papers, okay, so how you can criticize, what was the interesting point, okay, what is your opinion about this, what is called that topics, what you have learned from that topic. And meanwhile, you ask them to make the literature view table, okay, so what is called, whatever you have read already, you can put it in the table. Okay, you put a researcher, you put the years, put the results. Okay, so meanwhile they are reading, and another side their literature view metrics are getting ready. Okay, so later on they will understand what they have already read. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Haseeb. We move on to the next question from Dr. Indrianawati. How department or study program can support its students to submit to top-tier journals and convert their dissertations to journals, since we are limited by time? Perhaps the first one can from Dr. Garry, then Dr. Haseeb, and then Dr. Yaacob.
Okay, so how department can support its student? I think one important thing is that you expose your student to international writers. You know, like organizing webinars is really, really a good start. Okay. The other thing is that I think you should also make full use, if it's possible, by appointing maybe like visiting professors from top universities, you know, to come over to Universiti Airlangga to actually share, you know, their knowledge. I think this is what commonly is done by a lot of Malaysian universities. So yeah, so that's basically some of my suggestion. So the other part is that how to submit to top tier journals in a limited time only. Well, to be very frank, right? You know, this is something that all students, yeah, all PhD students actually face. You know, sometimes when you want to submit your article for publication, it takes about like a year. And imagine your PhD, as you have said, you know, it takes about like what, you have only like 3 years to do your PhD, and imagine you need to wait for a year, you know, to publish your article before you can even graduate. So my saying is that start early. Okay, start early if possible, or you can play with strategy in the sense that maybe in the first year you should start by writing like systematic literature review, which is much easier to write. You don't need to collect data, but that area is actually part of your thesis area, so you can also get your paper published quite easily as well. Yeah, so these are some strategies that you can use in your first year. But my suggestion is start writing early. In your first year, if possible, start to write and start to submit, because it will take about a year, you know, for the paper to be, you know, accepted and to be published. Yeah, so that's my suggestion.
Thank you, Dr. Garry. Dr. Haseeb, what's your view?
Yeah, if you want to, with the limited time, I have a small tip. What you can do before you submitting to any journal, look at their, usually most of the journal, they mention the history, okay, submission time, okay, review time, and acceptance time. So look at their, on the papers, okay, so you can have the idea, okay, that what is the acceptance time, okay, what is the average acceptance time. If you, for example, you see that some papers have submitted in 2017 and just now they are publishing, okay, or they are on average they are taking more than 1 year or 2 years, okay, so try to avoid at the beginning, and you are a beginner and you have a limited time, so try to avoid to submit in that journals, okay. And you can also get the idea how many issues they are publishing, how many people. Let's say a journal is publishing only 20 or 30 40 papers in a year, okay, so there is a high chance that they will take longer time to accept or reject your paper, okay. So this you can use this criteria, okay. So maybe you can there is one publisher is MDPI, okay. Some people they criticize the publisher, but for me I have a very good experience with them. They really give you the regress review, okay. But their time frame is very less, okay. They respond you within few days, okay, either your paper accepted or rejected whatsoever, but you should have a very good article, to get accept their journals in their journals. Okay, they have a quite good number of journals. Okay, they have some fee also. Okay, so but I think the universities are supporting the fee, but their journals are really good quality. Okay, so although they have a fee, but does not mean that fee does not mean that you know, the journal, this is also a wrong perception. Okay, that paid journal means that you know, their quality is not good. No, that's not criteria. Okay, so but it's called now, even many elsewhere and emerald journals, they are offering open access. Okay, so but it's called, you can select the open access policy also. If you open access policy, you have to pay the fee for open access. Okay, so this is actually the common a very common what is called argument, that the paid means that if the paid is very easy, so I challenge people to, okay, go and publish in sustainability. Okay, and go and publish in energy. Okay, that's the MDPI top journals. Okay, so it's not easy, even though they are paid, but not easy. So you can submit there. Okay, if you have less time, you can submit there. They will respond you very fast, and you can look at the other journals also, in Elsewhere, in Emerald, in Sage. Okay, so some journals, they really give you very fast review, and you also can look at how many papers they are publishing in 1 year. If they are publishing 200-300 papers, so you know, the chances are higher. Okay, compared to the journal who are accepting only 25 papers or 30 papers they are publishing in a year. Okay, so this method, you can use it to avoid the delay, overcome the delay or decrease the delay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haseeb. And last, Dr. Yaacob, what's your view?
Okay, thank you, Bu Gita. I just want to add on a point on what has been said by two speakers. I would suggest for the institutions to support students by first building up confidence of students. The second one is strengthening the skill. To strengthen the skill and capability of students, I think Dr. Garry has pointed out several suggestions. But to build up confidence, I would suggest for the department to have something like bootcamp, writing bootcamp among PhD students, or you can invite PhD students from other university who has successfully published, because they will
Explanation difficulties.
Okay.
No sound. Yeah. So okay.
Okay.
Maybe you can continue to, then we can come back again to Pak Zul. Yeah.
Okay, maybe we'll continue with Dr. Yaacob after this, and we'll vary the questions, yes, not just from the panelists, but also from the participants who have raised hand and from the Q&A session. But since we have limited time, so we'll select the questions to be answered by the speakers. First, we'd like to ask Dr. Mushtaq Ahmad Shah to speak his question. Dr. Mushtaq, are you there?
Yes, ma'am, I am here. Hello.
Yes, do you have any questions, Dr. Mushtaq?
Good morning to first off, good morning to all of you. I do not have any question, but I am thankful to the panelists for providing such an informative session. I hope that they will conduct such type of seminars in future also. Thanks from my side. I do not have any such type of question. I was just listening the fruitful session from the panelists. Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And maybe I'll read from other questions. The first one from Q&A that I have compiled in this file word is from Gusti Ayu Indah Ratnasari. About the salami slicing, about breaking up or segmenting a large study into 2 or more publication is unacceptable. How can students avoid doing salami slicing? Perhaps Dr. Yaacob and sorry, Dr. Yaacob's not here yet. Dr.
Hello.
Haseeb and Dr. Garry.
Bugita, I'm
Oh
here.
yes, Dr. Yaacob, you're here. Thank God.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Okay.
do you want to
Yes.
continue?
Yeah.
What? Okay, please do.
Okay. Okay. To this question by Gusti Ayu. Thank you, Gusti Ayu. Hope you are fine. To avoid salami slicing, the practice is not to slice your result and publish your result. What you need to do is first you develop your article from a very clear research question. An article should be written based on the problem statement and research question. So from that research questions and problem statement, you focus your writing. So it's not just about taking parts of your thesis and put it in one article and submit to the journal. You should have a clear framework. Each article should have a clear framework. So through my presentation today, what I can suggest to you, first you write a systematic literature review. You just build up your the content of your thesis and having a thorough literature, having a systematic literature review about the topic of your study. The second paper you can focus on measurement development, where you perhaps you propose a new instrument after you reading a lot of suggested instrument from the literature. Perhaps you come up with perhaps a unique instrument that specifically focus or suitable with the environment or condition in Indonesia. And the last one, you can submit paper based on the initial findings of your study, perhaps before you completing your data analysis. So my suggestion is not about converting, or my suggestion is not about breaking your findings into few findings and publish, but first you can publish from systematic literature review, second measurement model or research instrument, or critics on methodology. For example, when you do PhD, sometimes you have your own argument why you're going to use mixed method rather than quantitative or qualitative. For example, after you reading a number of articles, then you conclude that most of the previous author actually used quantitative or qualitative, but now you think mixed method would bring you better results. So you can write paper on that. And the last one is about findings. When you have data, when you analyze the data, now you're ready to publish your result. Thank you, Bugita.
Thank you, Dr. Yaacob. Perhaps Dr. Garry, you'd have your opinion?
Okay, thank you, Gita. Thank you, Dr. Zulnaidi. I kind of like agree with whatever that you have mentioned. I think a lot of universities, right, maybe even in Malaysia, they actually require a student to publish at least 2 or 3 articles before they graduate. And many times, right, students have this difficulty, when they submit a paper and let's say the paper is accepted, and when they run a plagiarism test, and they discover that a lot of the similarity is based on their own paper, self-plagiarism. It could also be an issue. So if you want to break your thesis into many parts, you would have some issue with this similarity problem. So my suggestion is kind of like agreeing with what Dr. Zulnaidi has said. Think about systematic literature review. Think about this thing called building a new measurements. Or maybe you can even add another one, which is what we call an opinion paper as well. Yeah, you can Google what is this thing called opinion paper. Now, you can also think about trying to, at the end of the day, right? Think about this. Once you have graduated, what do you really want to tell your potential employers, and so on, that you are actually a master in your own area? So maybe you can think about doing an area which is still within your PhD area. Let's say, for example, you are doing a paper on thesis on mobile payment, for example. Yeah, maybe you can do something which is related on mobile payment, but in another area, another technology, maybe on near field communication or QR code. It doesn't need to be exactly like what you are doing in your PhD. So long that it's still within your research area, it's still acceptable. That also demonstrate, your credibility, demonstrate that, you have that kind of knowledge, to move on and henceforth. So yeah, so that is some of my opinions.
Thank you, Dr. Garry. And Dr. Haseeb, what's your publication point of view for this?
They can take more. I think for me, if you are taking a paper from your PhD thesis, so don't take too many papers. Okay, just extract maybe 2 papers, a quality paper. Okay, rather than, let's say you have 5 variables, 6 variables, so you are taking 1 paper. Okay, so what you can do, you can have a review article, okay, from your thesis. Okay, and after that, maximum, for me, according to my opinion, that can be wrong, that don't take more than 2 papers from your thesis. Okay, that will be good enough. Okay, so otherwise it will be repetition. Okay, so 2 papers, good enough. Okay, so that will total will be 3, the maximum. Okay, if you ask me, take 1 review article and another empirical article. Okay, that will be enough. But if you want more, the more will be maximum 2 empirical article. Okay, so publish your complete what is called your framework. Okay, that is also very important. Okay, so because there is academic theft. Okay, so you can avoid this problem also. If your framework is already published somewhere, so you are safe. Okay, so because this problem do happen. Okay, so in my opinion, don't take too many papers from your PhD thesis. Okay, so 1 review article and maximum 2 empirical articles, that's a good enough. Thank you.
Thank you for all of our speakers. So I think it also answers the ahead questions from Yang Shu about writing conceptual paper from thesis prior to completing data collection. It should be maybe the review paper from the literatures, and then maximum 2 papers from the dissertation result. Okay, that concludes 2 questions. And let me see which question. Oh yeah, this one is from Sinta Setia, special for Dr. Haseeb. Could you elaborate what does the first source mean and why this should be maximum 3%?
What is called, because this is a common practice. Okay, even for your PhD thesis also, I'm quite sure that if you read your guideline for your thesis, plagiarism and similarity index, so that usually for PhD thesis should not be more than 5% from any source, first source. Because when you check your plagiarism, your similarity index, so that having a list, okay, that how many percent, let's say your similarity is 10%. So from the 10%, how many percent is maximum you have taken, okay, from any source. Okay, so maximum you can take. Okay, actually you cannot take even 1%, but we cannot avoid. Okay, some terminologies are similar. Okay, so what is called, just yesterday I received 1 paper that was a review article, systematic review article. So I saw their plagiarism was quite high. Okay, so when I checked carefully, I saw all the titles was what is called come up under similarity. So title, of course, you cannot change. Journal names you cannot change. In the systematic review article, you make the table. Okay, so that table was coming up in the similarity. Okay, so the maximum usually the journal, they do accept the first source, the maximum source, the maximum percentage you can take from any paper, or what is called is similar to other paper is 3%. So you can check your similarity report and it will give you the list of sources.
Thank you, Dr. Haseeb. Yeah, so here's from Surya Dewi Rustari Yuni to all panelists. Oh, she has, I'm sorry, I don't know if this is a he or she. There are 4 questions, perhaps relating to all of our speakers. Do you suggest using question words for article title? Is it good to write introduction using inverted triangle scheme? How to find the black box theory for beginner writer? And for Dr. Yaacob, how to break dissertation into more than 1 publication and avoid plagiarism? First of all, maybe we'll start with Dr. Haseeb for a change.
Yeah, yes, Ken. For me, question mark I don't suggest. Okay, I don't support this. Okay, in economics we usually try to, in management is different thing. Okay, so I'm telling from my economics perspective, usually we don't suggest to put the question mark in your title. Okay, so what this called, maybe I support this idea because of my supervisors who guide me not to, this actually not any hard and fast rule, but for my perspective I usually avoid to put question mark in the title. Okay, but there is no you cannot find any specific scientific way, okay, scientific proof that can we add the question mark in the title, okay, or we cannot what is called add the question mark in the title. Some things are, you know, we can follow the flow. Okay, for example, sometimes we put our conceptual framework at the end of second chapter. Okay, after the literature review, sometimes we put in the third chapter in the methodology. Okay, so what is called, we sometimes we follow our superiors. Okay, so for me, I don't like, or I don't want to put it question mark, okay, in my title.
Okay, and perhaps Dr. Garry can answer the second one, introduction using inverted triangle scheme.
Maybe I answer the first question. Do you suggest using question words for article title? It basically depends. So I use both. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And I do agree with what Dr. Haseeb has said. It also depends on your area. What I may suggest is that maybe the person who asked this question can take a look at journals like publishers like Elsevier. Elsevier, they have this list called most downloaded list and also most cited list. Yeah, take a look at those papers which are listed in most downloaded, and take a look at those papers which are listed in most cited. Look at how these papers, you know, how they construct their title. That will give you, you know, some opinion whether you want to use a question mark or you do not want to use a question mark. Yeah, I think most publishers have this list. Even in Taylor and Francis, even in Sains, even in Sage, they have this most downloaded, most cited list. Yeah. Okay, so that's the first one. The second question, is it good to write introduction using an inverted triangle schema? I don't exactly understand what it means by an inverted triangle schema. Maybe the person can elaborate.
Oh, Surya Dewi Rustari Yuni, are you still here? Wait, let me check the participant. Surya Dewi.
Maybe I can give the comment. Yeah, usually, again, you know, this is a beauty of research that we can use our own perspective also. So usually, some people, how the triangle they use it, sometimes they, what we do, we discuss first. Okay, we introduce the topic first. Okay, and coming the narrow down. Okay, making the triangle. First, we are building the fundamentals. Okay, we introduce the topic, we introduce the background. Okay, and slowly we come up with the problem. Okay, so that is a bottom of our triangle. Okay, but sometimes what we are doing the inverted triangle. Okay, so we are starting with the problem. Okay, so CO2 emission is a global problem. Okay, now started from the beginning, I have told that the CO2 emission is a global problem. Okay, and what is called UN Secretary have explained in his last speech that what is called, if we not control the CO2 emission, it is going to destroy our world. Okay, so from the beginning you have make alert the researcher, oh, what is actually this very severe problem is in this paper is going to be discussed. But sometimes we build the fundamental first. Okay, environmental problems, energy problems, and slowly we are come up with the, because of these issues, CO2 problem is there. Okay, so you can follow the both way. You want to use triangle way or you want to use inverted triangle way. So both way you can use it.
Okay, thank you.
If your problem is it's very clear, loud and very clear, So better to use triangle way. Okay. And if you see that your problem is, you are trying to build the problem, okay, try to justify the problem, then inverted triangle is more better according to my perspective.
Okay, thank you very much.
Gita, may I just add something?
Yes, yes.
I understand on this inverted triangle scheme. Now maybe try to use another different approach. I have seen this approach used in many top ranked journals, especially in my area management. They use a theory approach, okay, to start off their introduction. I just throw it to you. Maybe you can stimulate in terms of your thinking. So I just give a very good example. So we talk about the theory of gravity. Yeah, so we say that the theory of gravity in your introduction, you say that, you know, anything that goes up must come down. Okay. Now, after you have said that anything that goes up must come down, then you draw back to the attention. But in Malaysia, things that goes up will goes up even higher. It will stimulate a lot of, you know, the reviewers thinking like, my gosh, is it so true? And they'll be so, you know, like okay, I really must read your article to find out, is it really true that whatever things that you're going to suggest is going to defy the theory of whatever that you have mentioned. That is a very new approach for you to, you know, captures the audience, you know, the readers, you know, attention henceforth. Try to use this approach rather than, you know, whatever problem statement, you know, and so on.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Garry.
All right.
That's very interesting approach. And the third question, how to find black box theory for beginner writer? This applies to me too.
Okay. The idea is that, right, you need to read good journals. Okay, when you read good journals, right, you will be able to see, like for example, a lot of my students will ask, you know, Garry, you know, like I'm gonna use this construct, but I cannot find, you know, what are the theories that are actually related to this kind of construct. So whenever I look at the kind of citations that they cited, it draws to attention that they always cite from low-ranked journals. So what I would suggest is that when you read good journals, okay, read good journals, they will have very nice way, you know, in terms of writing their hypothesis. You can really learn from how they actually write, and that's where you actually learn how to, you know, avoid all this black box theory and henceforth. So read good journals. That's the key thing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garry.
Thank you. And last, Dr. Yaacob, the fourth question.
Okay, thank you, Bu Gita. Okay, first, my advice to new author, for whatever question regarding how to write abstract, how to write introduction, my practice is normally I visited normally I visit the journal website first. I read the author guidelines. I read the guidelines for authors. Normally, you can have that guidelines on the website of the journal, and also you read articles in the journal. So from after you reading a certain numbers of article published in the journal, you can have your perceptions. You can have your some, you know, at least you can assume how editor going to have evaluation, how the editor going to evaluate your article. And so based on that, you can, you know, you can do some adjustment on the way you write your article so that it's going to fit into the journal requirement. Because sometimes certain journal they accept title with question mark. Sometimes certain journal they don't accept. So that's why my suggestion is for you, there is no, you know, there is no one fit answer to this question. You must go to the journal, read the author guidelines, and reading the suggestions given by the editor-in-chief. In terms of publication, I think we all the speaker have agreed. You can publish a maximum 3 articles from your dissertation, or perhaps 2 is more than enough. One is, you know, before data collection, some sort of systematic literature review or measurement development, and another one is empirical papers. So by having this, you should be able to publish and avoid any duplication in your publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Perhaps Dr. Garry or Dr. Haseeb can add for this last question about to avoid plagiarism.
I want to give the comment for not for the plagiarism, for about searching the article. Actually, I'm very much against about Google Scholar. Okay, so this is very frequently used search engine. Okay, but I'm very much against about Google Scholar, because the problem of Google Scholar is that you, once you are searching the keywords, okay, so you can find thousands of papers, okay, and from these thousands of papers, for you it is very difficult to find out which journals are quality journal. Okay, so you just start downloading. Students usually what they do, they start downloading the papers. Okay, but this kind, whatever they see it is related to their keywords, they start downloading. Okay, and they don't know that this is a Mickey Mouse journal or a top journal. Okay, so better you go directly to the what is called Emerald or elsewhere, or their database, and from their database you will find only what is called the quality journals. Okay, so this is a better way, rather than you use the Uncle Google. Okay, so Uncle Google will give you, all everything. Okay, so what is called, that will create later on, waste your time. Okay, and make difficult for you to find out the problem. Okay, so narrow down your paper, it wastes your time. Okay, at the end, the product, ready product, your paper which you make ready, that will not be that much good, which you, if compared to when I start my PhD. From the start, I was lucky that my some papers were published in very good journals, in Village journals and Springer journals. Okay, so I was using this technique. Okay, I never searched from the Google Scholar from the beginning. Okay, so I never search from the Google Scholar. I always search from, directly go to the what is called search engines. Okay, their databases like Elsevier and Springer and all these things. Okay, and I've tried to find the literature from there. Okay, so because the Google Scholar is easy to use it, so I saw even the professors, they are using the Google Scholar. Okay, so that's why I think that no wonder that papers, you cannot produce a good quality papers, because the literature you are collecting, okay, is from a mixture of good journals and not very good journals. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Haseeb. Dr. Garry, you have something to add?
Yeah, okay, just to add on, I normally, if I want to look for journals, right, when I started, when I did my PhD, I don't exactly use Google. I do, okay, once in a while, but using Google again, there is always a limitation, because the journals that you look for, you may not know, it could be even the predatory journals. Okay, so citing predatory journals or blacklisted journal may not be too good for your dissertations or for your publication. So what I would recommend is that try to stick on to publisher. Means you use a publisher database, like for example Elsevier. You use Science Direct, Emerald database, Sage database, Taylor and Francis database, and henceforth. So by using this, you will ensure that at least the list that you have is considered to be reputable. It may not be very high impact. It could be even a Scopus journal, but at least it's a very safe list. Okay, so that's the first thing that you should do. Now, the other database which I could suggest is EBSCOhost or Business Source Premier, because there are a lot of journals which are really very top ranked. Like for example, MISQ, Harvard Business Review, they are not linked with Taylor and Francis, they are not linked with Emerald, they are not even linked with Elsevier. So how do you exactly find all these kind of journals? You go to EBSCOhost, it's linked with EBSCOhost. So EBSCOhost is another good database that you must use whenever you want to search for your articles. Yeah, that's it lah.
Thank you, Dr. Garry. So we'll move to another question, perhaps. Wait. I think the one from. Oh yeah, another one from Surya Devi again. If the editor asks to change the article completely, should the writer follow the comment or move to another journal maybe? And is it obligatory to send cover letter to editor, to Dr. Haseeb?
Yeah, better to, your impression, you need to show the impression to the editor that you are a serious submitter. Okay, you are a serious person, okay, and who really love this journal. Okay, so you need to give the importance to editor, you need to give the importance to the journal. Okay, so what is called follow the proper way of submission. Okay, if you have given the cover letter, okay, if you have if they ask you to submit a graphical abstract and you have draw the graphical abstract also, so you complete their what they are required. Okay, so it increase the chance of acceptance. Okay, so if although your paper is very good, but you don't care about the cover letter, although you until unless you are you are already Adam Smith level of economist, okay, or researcher, so that's another thing that the journal will weight your paper. Okay, otherwise as a researcher, as a normal researcher, we have to follow the protocol. Okay, so this is a appropriate word, that you have to follow the protocol. Okay, and you have to tell them that your journal is very suitable, my paper is very suitable to your journal. Okay, by giving the good impression, good gesture. Okay, the good gesture you can give by giving the cover letter, by giving the even you can attach the plagiarism report, even you can attach. Okay, so your small biography you can attach with the paper. Okay, so you show the seriousness. Okay, so it can enhance the chance of acceptance. Okay, and if the editor or reviewers asking you to change all the paper, so that is your choice. Okay, either you are agree with the reviewer, because at the end editor and reviewers are also human. Okay, and if you feel that your paper will totally change, your context of the paper will totally change, okay, and you are not agree with that, so no need to change. And if the reviewers comment and editors comments is convince you, okay, don't be, you should be flexible. As a researcher, we should be flexible. Okay, there is nothing certain, there is nothing black and white. Okay, so you should be flexible. Okay, so if the comments is comments of reviewer, comments of editor is encouraging you, is make you satisfy, and you understand that these comments are worthy, and if you incorporate this comment, your paper will be good. Doesn't matter these comments take you a long time, and your paper sometimes you got the comments, and after reading the comments you think that, okay, if these all things I have to do, then what I have done before. Okay, so if that comments are worthy, you evaluate on a standard basis. Okay, and if you think that you sit and read the comments, if that are worthy comments, it can change your paper, it can improve your paper, go ahead. If you are not agree with the comments, don't push yourself. Okay, because at the end it might what is called affect the quality of your paper, and it might not be accepted after you do all these things. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Haseeb.
Thank you, Dr. Haseeb. And oh, I forgot, we have one question from the panelists that haven't been answered yet, from Fiona as the student. And her question is that, how can a beginner researcher reach top tier journals? Should we climb to the top like in process, like you do the Q4 and then Q3, Q2 until you reach the Q first, the Q1, or how? What are your thoughts about this? Maybe Dr. Haseeb atau
yeah, I can. Okay, yes. I can. Okay. Yes. Once you have make ready your paper, okay, again, who's the biggest reviewer of your paper? You yourself. Okay, is the biggest reviewer. Okay, is the appropriate reviewer of the paper. Okay, so you read your paper and evaluate your paper. Okay, be honest with you. Don't close the eyes. Okay, if you close the eyes, the editors and reviewer will not close the eyes. Okay, so as I mentioned in my presentation, don't try to use luck. Okay, you try to use luck here, it will demotivate you, it will waste your time. Okay, so ask yourself, is this paper is enough quality to publish this particular journal? You have target the Q1 journal, you target the Q2 journal, you target Q3 journal, whatever the journal you have targeted. Okay, so if you say by yourself, I have a good contribution, the language of the paper is very good, I have discussed the real problem, okay, and my paper formatting is very good, error free, no problem of the language, okay, and most important, within the scope of the paper, within the scope of the journal. Okay, if everything is okay, go ahead, go submit in the Q1, Q2 journal. Okay, go ahead with the high impact factor journals. Okay, people who are publishing there, they are also human. Okay, and we are also human. Okay, so what is called, if you are fulfilling this criteria, go ahead. If you think that my paper is just replica lah, okay, just I have one night I sit and I wrote one chapter and satu minggu saya sudah habis lah. Okay, to submit in Q1 journal, jangan try. Okay, don't waste your time, and be honest with you. So you are the very good reviewer of your paper. Okay, yourself will tell you that my paper will accept in this journal or not. But at the end, again, if that is not 100%, if yourself is telling you this paper is very good, blah 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 blah, and if still your paper is not getting accept, okay, although you get the good comments, that is also a win-win situation. You have got the comments, okay, so you can incorporate the comment. Getting comments is also, very worthy. Okay, even sometimes people pay somebody, okay, to give the comments. Okay, so if you got the comments in the free of cost, this is also very good for your paper. You incorporate the comments and resubmit again. Don't demotivate. Don't demotivate yourself. Remember, this is a journey. This is a journey. Journey takes time. Journeys need patience. Okay, journey needs cool mind. Okay, don't be afraid. Don't be demotivated. Okay, if your paper one time rejected, no problem. Okay, the word is there. Scopus have 40,000 journals. Okay, 40,000 journals. Okay, APDC have 1,000 journals also. Web of Science also have 1,000 journals. Go and try. Okay, if your paper is rejected from one journal, does not mean that the word is end. Okay, the word is still there. Okay, so you still can try. Thank you very much.
Thank you for such honest answer, actually. And maybe Dr. Garry, you have something to add?
Okay, just for sharing. Last month I was just chatting with one of my colleague. So my colleague said this, Garry, it's so weird. Recently I submitted a paper, okay, to one of a very low ranking journal, and it got rejected. All right. So later what we did was we decided to throw it, just try our luck, throw it to another better, higher ranking journal, and the paper surprisingly was accepted. So he asked me, what's wrong? This is a very top ranking journal and he got it, but it was rejected by a very low ranking journal. So sometimes, after I heard that, right, I would say this, sometimes it's your luck, okay? What I'm trying to say is that if you were to ask my opinion, try to submit your article to the best first. Okay, this is what me and my colleagues will do. We will always look at this. We like to use the ABS and the ABDC ranking list, which I have just shared today. Maybe all of you today, you can go home, download this list. We will always try, okay, with the, let's say, for example, the ABS level 4, the highest ranked journal first. Okay, if it get rejected, we will slowly move on to level 4, level 3, and so on. But at least, if the paper get rejected, we get to see the best comment from the best reviewer, so we can improve, and so on. So at least if let's say it has been accepted, at least it's ranked highly, rather than you submit to a low ranking. Maybe your paper is really good, you do not know. So to me, aim for the best. Okay, save the best for the last. Go for the best. If you get rejected, move on from level 4, level 3, level 2, and level 1. Yeah, so that's my opinions.
Thank you, Dr. Garry. Dr. Yaacob, are you still there? Do you have something to add to Fiona's question? Oh, maybe he's stepping away. I'm really sorry to all of our participants today. There are so many questions, but we are limited by time. We should have ended this like 7 minutes ago. So I think that will do for today. That's a wrap for today. That's such a fruitful answer to end our online seminar today. Thank you, Dr. Garry. And once again, I would like to thank all of our speakers and panelists and all participants who have joined us today on behalf of Departemen of Management Universitas Airlangga. I apologize for any problems or mistakes occurred during this online seminar process. We do hope to improve it in the future. We're very sorry for any unanswered questions or responses that we may have missed today. And of course, our esteemed speakers and panelists, thank you so much for your time. This is all so wonderful. And I'm sorry I can't give you 2 hours each because we are really excited to learn more from you guys. And to all participants, the link to presentation slides from Dr. Yaacob and Dr. Haseeb.
The sound is gone. Yeah. Hello, Gita.
Yeah, yes. Yes, Dr. Indrianawati, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I thank
Could
you
you
and really
repeat
appreciate so special Dr. Muhammad Haseeb and Dr. Garry and also Pak Yaacob. Yeah, happy birthday. Hope health and happy for you for today. And maybe Prof.
Thank you very
Tanti,
much.
yeah, want to close remark.
Closing remark from Prof. Tanti?
Thank you.
Volume.
And all of panelists and all of participants, see you in next seminar international. Thank you.
Dian, maybe? Dian Ekowati. Yeah.
Right. I mean, like,
Yeah, hopefully we have more. Yeah.
And you know, like while listening to all of you, all the speakers, actually, I was remembering my time as a PhD student. It was, you know, like you know how's all the feeling, and it was coming back, and I was just like, yeah, it's hard, but it's okay. You know, like at the end of the time, we are enjoying the journey, and here we are. You know, like sharing our experience. Thank you very much.
Okay. And this seminar has also been recorded and will be uploaded in Departemen of Management official YouTube channel. So don't forget to subscribe. Just like YouTube artists these days, yeah. This is my one opportunity, maybe. And also, I'd like to remind you all that we confirm that your presence has been automatically recorded by Zoom once you join the seminar. And also, e-certificate, materials, and YouTube link will be sent to your email 24 hours after this event. We'd like to thank all 420 participants for today from 11 countries. We really appreciate having you all here today, and we hope to see you again in the next online seminar series that will be brought by Departemen of Management, Faculty of Economy and Business, Universitas Airlangga. We wish you and your family safe and healthy. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much, Dr. Garry, Dr. Yaacob, Dr. Haseeb.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.